get nasty. Welcome into the Fast Lane. Today is Monday. What is it? December 23rd. 2 days from Christmas, fellas. How you doing? Are you all excited? Jamie, you excited? You up there in Detroit? Is it cold?
No. Yeah, it's freezing up here, Carey. To go from Fort Lauderdale, where I'm sitting out on the beach, got a little drink with an umbrella in it.
Yeah.
I come up here, and it's like, no, winter's here.
Should we feel bad for him? That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Carey Davis. Andrew Marsh is joining us. And Jamie is in the frigid air of Detroit, Michigan, getting ready for a game tonight. Blues versus the Detroit Red Wings. Jamie, you know, the Blues are they're playing hockey, right? They're playing hockey. They
Why
have
do you say it like that, Carey?
Well, Jamie, because I'm getting to it. I don't know. They are losers of their last three, and those 3 games that they lost.
That's a strong term.
They have lost their last 3. I don't want to call them losers. My apologies. You're correct. When you're right, you're right. They have lost their last 3, and in those 3 games, Jamie, they have a total whopping 3 goals. They took a loss on Friday night to the Florida Panthers in Florida in overtime, but during this 3-game losing streak, they have 3 goals, and so Marshy came up with this thought: should we be concerned about the Blues' lack of secondary scoring? Because 1 goal a game ain't going to get it done, sir.
Yeah. So a couple things with this, and it's awesome that you're going there right now with this, because I had a really long conversation with a couple of the coaches yesterday and then again this morning, in particular Davey Alexander, who is the goaltender coach, but he also tracks the chances, scoring chances for, scoring chances against, and they all have, there's grade A, grade B, a non-scoring chance, and the Blues are creating a good number of grade A scoring chances, and they have run into a couple of really good goalies, too, the last couple of games. You got Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky. Not only are they just 2 of the best goalies, they're elite. They're Stanley Cup champion goalies. They're 2 of the best, and they have been for a while. And look, that's not an excuse. The Blues are generating grade A chances. They're just not finishing those chances. So ultimately, you're not scoring goals. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, that's a big problem. You want to score as many goals as you can, and you can't always just rely upon 1 or 2 guys to get that done. And so, yeah, the depth of scoring right now has to improve. I mean, look, when Monty took over, Jake Neighbors was going, Holloway was going, Thomas, Booch. Like, you had several guys going. Right now, the only 3 guys that are consistently going are Kyrou Thomas and Buchnevich, and that's where we were a couple of years ago when you were losing games like this by a goal, 2-1, 3-2, 3 or 2-0. You couldn't generate enough offense, and it cost you. So the Blues have to continue to generate those grade A chances, but at the same time, they've got to finish. They have to finish. And I think that Monty's changed up the lines a little bit here tonight. So he's seeing that the team needs more offense, and he's trying to find a way to get that going.
When you're in a bit of a rut like you speak of, and you're having those grade A opportunities, is it just on the player to finish? I know you're playing guys that we used to say in college, you got guys that are on scholarship in the NFL, you got guys that are getting paid as well. But how do you capitalize off of those grade A opportunities when you're in front of the net and you're playing really good goaltenders in that manner?
Yeah, you just have to be persistent. You have to make sure you're still getting more bodies and pucks to the net. You have to make sure that you're hanging around the net more often. And when you get an opportunity to shoot the puck from a high-danger area or even a mid-danger area, you've got to do it. And I think that you also the biggest problem that teams that struggle to score goals, what they do is they overcomplicate things. They start to pass the puck even more. They're looking for the bigger, better play or the easier tap-in goal. And that's not always going to be available. Certainly not against good hockey clubs. So the Blues, for me, as I've said this so many times, I know it's redundant, but it's pucks and bodies to the net, and then you just got to find a way to finish. And, there's no remedy to be like, okay, here's what you do when you're a goal scorer. It's just going to those same spots, repetitively taking your shots when you can, and you just got to focus on trying to finish, and you do that in practice. You keep working in practice. Hit the net with every shot. Go to the net. Find the rebounds. Put the puck in the net. I call it training the brain to score goals, and I think you just have to keep doing that.
Jamie, this might be weird for me to say, but could this be a good thing in a retool for Army to know, okay, this is who I can rely on, at least from a depth scoring standpoint. This is who I can rely on, and this is who might be a player that maybe we have to move on from as the retool progresses? Or is this like a time where Army's really looking at stuff like this?
Yeah, I think you're always looking to improve goal scoring. And when you have a team like the Blues that you're in this retool and, look, the Blues, the future looks bright for the Blues. The 9 prospects at the World Junior Championship. You've got Dvorsky, you've got Snuggerud. So goal scoring is on its way to the Blues. I just don't know the timeline yet. But in the meantime, you got to win hockey games. You got to try and make the playoffs. And if Army and the coaching staff feel that there are a certain number of players that are good players, but they're not able to contribute offensively, then you got to find guys who can, or you got to find ways to generate more offense. And I think the Blues tonight, one of the ways they're trying to at least perk up the power play is Robert Thomas has been moved from his regular strong side to the opposite side, working off the goal line. And that's because the Blues have dove into the numbers, and a lot of the action as far as goal scoring is concerned has been coming with cross crease or low slot passes across the front for shots or tip-ins or deflections, whatever you want to call it. So they're changing the power play up to drive it more from the goal line rather than up top, because that's what's trending right now in the NHL as far as goal scoring is concerned.
Yeah, Jamie, that's what I was going to hit on next. The Blues haven't scored a power play goal in feels like forever. So creating more opportunities to get power plays and then actually scoring. You said they're changing things up. Is this going to kind of give a shock to the system and allow them to have more opportunities? And also, how do you create more power play opportunities? Is it just playing harder, playing with more grit, putting yourself in position to get those penalties against the other teams?
Taking the puck into good ice, taking the puck into the middle. You're forcing teams at that point to defend you. Alexei Toropchenko is a perfect example. Last game, he drove wide on the Panthers defenseman, just dropped his shoulder to drive just to the net, and the guy had to tackle him, and he ran into the goalie, and then the Blues got a power play out of it. But that's the kind of hard-nosed playing it takes to draw the penalties. And one would think that tonight's a good night for the power play to kind of get off the schneid, as they say, because the Red Wings are 31st in the NHL in penalty kill. They're not great on the penalty kill. Talking to some of their front office guys today, he said that that's been a big problem, that their penalty kill is not competitive in the NHL right now. So with a little change to the power play with Robert Thomas going to a different spot and then moving the pieces around a little bit. Now Cam Fowler, who was on the power play in Florida, now he's the power play 1 guy up top. I think the Blues are looking to capitalize tonight on a team that's not great on the penalty kill, but at the same time they've got to find a way to score. They're looking for new ways to score on the power play.
Well, Jamie, if they need more information, I got you, and you can pass this along to Jim Montgomery. Shoot the puck. That's my. Listen, I know it's a novel ideal. It's a crazy thought, right? Just shoot it. Good things happen. They do it in the NBA. They shoot 100,000 3-pointers a game. One of them is going to fall, so just shoot the puck. No. I think that will work. No? Think that's a good idea?
I mean, I don't hate it.
You can shoot it from your blue line even. Just shoot it. I mean, whatever it takes.
Some would call that a turnover. Someone call that a turnover, Carey.
I call it a shot on goal, Jamie.
Yeah, I call it giving a puck to the other team.
Real hockey people know, Jamie.
You're right. People in the know, they know what's going on.
We know what it is.
Jamie, obviously, we're talking about secondary scoring and the lack thereof, but like on the flip side of that, I think the defense compared to the last few years has looked completely different, for the better. Like, what have you been seeing from these guys on the back end?
Well, you just got so much experience back there now. Cam Fowler, he's a smooth defenseman. He's played so many years, almost 1,000 games under his belt now. He's playing alongside Parayko, who we know is one of the best shutdown defensemen in the NHL. Ryan Suter, call him Benjamin Button, he's found the fountain of youth. He's playing fantastic. He's gritty, clears up the front of the net. Justin Falk is logging big minutes. I just think, and with Broberg too, I just think the group overall is playing more experienced, and when you get a guy like Broberg in there too, he doesn't have the experience that the other veteran guys do, but he's a really good young defenseman with great skating ability, good on the defensive side. The blue line right now for this team has been really good. I like the way they're playing, and one of the biggest things that they're doing is they're defending really well down low. If you remember a couple of years ago, Jordan Binnington's numbers took a beating because so many goals were backdoor or guys left all alone in front, or rebound goals where guys weren't moved out of the front of the net. That's not happening this year. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I think it's Ryan Suter, the Ryan Suter effect. You watch that guy from day one of this year's season. Every time there's anybody in front of the net, like they're cross-checked, they're pitchforked, they're drug out of there, they're face washed. Like it's not fun to be in front of the net against Ryan Suter. And now you look at the other guys. Pareko's doing it, Falk is doing it, Fowler's doing it. It's become a thing, which is great because you don't want to give up that real estate. That is the best real estate in the building, and you got to earn that spot. And right now, the Blues are making teams do that.
Yeah, the defense has definitely been more gritty. Jamie, you're in a gritty city right now in Detroit. Have you had an opportunity to go check out Anthony's childhood home?
Yeah, the old 7.5 mile. Yeah, it's amazing. It seemed much bigger when we were younger, but it's. We went down there, saw a couple of Anthony's relatives, and they said to say hi.
He'll be happy.
They were singing around a burning barrel. It was fun.
That's interesting. We'll get his thoughts on it. Hopefully, he's enjoying his vacation.
Yeah.
That's Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis. Over the weekend, we got some college football in the first ever college football playoff. We'll get the guys' thoughts on what took place this weekend when we return on the Fast Lane.
If you are thinking about selling your home anywhere in the St. Louis area, now is definitely not the time to take a chance and just hope for the best outcome. Hey, Jamie Rivers here. I want to tell you about my great friend, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria does a fantastic job of not just knowing the market, but identifying where your home fits in the market and exactly what price to ask out there so that you get the maximum amount of money when you list your home. Not all agents are able to do that, but Gloria Liu, because she knows the market so well and has been in business for over 20 years, she's able to do that and help you through it. She also has a database with thousands of buyers that are ready, willing, and able to purchase your home. Why does that matter? That drives traffic to your listing. So Gloria Liu is helping you sell your home at the same time, making sure buyers go to your listing, and that gets you the most money for your home. So please don't wait another day. Give her a call at 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888. Or you can always visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. The time is 2:19. The time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Joined by Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers, I'm Carey Davis. And fellas, over the weekend, we got our first taste of some college football playoff action. I was glued to my seat Friday night, all day Saturday, enjoying, what I thought it would be. I think most people figured that the higher seed would win, the home teams. It's tough to go into a college stadium and win on the road, and I think we saw some good games. Some people may not be excited about the outcome of the scores, but I want to know you all's opinion. Do you feel it was a bit of a disappointment because of the blowouts in most instances? I do not, but how do you all think about it?
Yeah, for me, I was disappointed only because, what?
Jamie.
Don't be disappointed in me, Carey. I was disappointed in the games. Not all of them, by the way. I thought the Texas-Clemson game was fine. I thought even though it was a blowout, the Ohio State-Tennessee game, you just saw clearly that Ohio State is going to be a monster in these playoffs. What got me on the negative side, though, was I left that weekend in my head going, yeah, you know what? A lot of people were right. Indiana and SMU probably shouldn't have been in there. I think Alabama and Ole Miss, two teams, could have. You're telling me Alabama versus Notre Dame's not a better game? Of course it is. You're telling me Ole Miss couldn't have beaten Penn State? Of course they could, because they beat Georgia earlier in the season when Georgia had their starting quarterback playing, mind you. So, look, this is going to be a work in progress because this is the first one ever, and SMU and Indiana deserved to be in the playoff based upon their record and what they did throughout the season. Now, moving forward, if you've got a team like this, a smaller school that doesn't have a ton of victories over top 25 opponents, you may, in the future, vote in a team that is as good as Alabama or Ole Miss. And I'm just using those teams. This year could be any team from the Big Ten, from another conference. It doesn't matter to me. What I want is for the committee to make sure they get the best 12 teams in there.
So I hear people's argument about that, and I push back on it because I don't know.
Not you.
Yeah, me. Of course, me. Because I don't know which Ole Miss team shows up. Is it the team that lost at home to Kentucky? Is the Alabama team that lost on the road to Vanderbilt? Is that the one that shows up? Is it the one that lost on the road to Oklahoma?
You think those teams are showing up in a playoff game?
I think
Come on, Carey.
I think if they wanted to be in the playoffs, that team shouldn't have showed up where they showed up. That's just my opinion.
But Indiana beat nobody.
Indiana. They
don't have a bad loss because they didn't play anybody good.
And that's fine. They took a loss to a tough Ohio State team on the road, and they lost to Notre Dame, two of the top teams in the country. Do I think that they would have beat an SMU team? Maybe. Do I think they could have beat an Arizona State team that's in the playoffs? Probably. So it doesn't tell me. It's based on matchups. It's based on where you play. And I think what you saw in this first round is it's tough to win on the road. If that's a neutral site, I think it's an easier game for an Indiana. I think it's an easier game for.
Come on. You can't blame the stadium, Carey. You're better than this.
I'm not blaming the stadium. I'm blaming the stadium, the location. Playing on the road, playing in an opposing team's stadium, it's tough to win. And when the team that you're playing is ranked higher, meaning that they're probably better, Penn State played in the Big Ten championship game. They were going to dog roll SMU. The funny part for me, and Anthony was one of the guys that pushed back on this heavily, because I said it Friday. I said Ohio State is going to curb stomp Tennessee. Tennessee scored 17 points, and they should have scored 3. That was a blow. To me, that was the worst game of them all, because everyone has told me this narrative of how Tennessee, because they're in the SEC, they're so good. But you go into Ohio State. I told you all it was going to be cold. It gets cold in Tennessee. It doesn't get Columbus, Ohio cold in Tennessee. And your starting quarterback is from Long Beach, California. It matters. So for me, that was a game that showed that when you're playing, it matters. And I do love the fact that the first round allowed those home teams to have that game, because it does give an advantage to them and a disadvantage to the road teams.
I just thought the Indiana game in itself, let's stick with that one. I thought it was terrible. I thought Indiana looked like they didn't belong out there. Some of the decision making made no sense to me. Why are you punting? Your season's on the line. You're in the fourth quarter. Like, why are? And I know their head coach was like, well, the defense was playing really good. We had nothing going on offense.
That was crazy.
I don't care. Your season is on the line. Like, what are you doing? Like, they weren't playing to win. SMU was terrible.
Well, they were outclassed. SMU didn't have a chance. They were outclassed.
They never had a chance
versus Penn State.
They never had a chance. In Tennessee, honestly, like, I know some people were like, at least on Friday and then the early Saturday game, they're like, well, the SEC. Ohio State beat up on Tennessee more than they beat up on Indiana. So, like, none of these games, other than like you said, the Texas and Clemson game was probably the most entertaining game, but it was still like at one point you're like, okay, maybe Clemson can get to within one score, and then they don't get it on fourth down, and you're like, this game's over. Like, it just wasn't what I wanted it to be, and maybe my expectations were a little too high, but to me, I'm like, man, do we really need 12 teams or do we need 8 teams?
So for me, I think it's always it's more, the more teams the better, right? Because when we watch the March Madness. When we watch March Madness, we don't expect a 16 to beat a 1. Like, we never expect it. But when it does happen, when Purdue loses and they're the number 1 seed, you're like, oh, my God. When Virginia loses and they're the number 1 seed, you're like, oh goodness, this 16 can go all the way. It's about those moments. Are they likely to happen? Not often, right? It's like when Cardinal fans, you can get into the playoffs and make a run like the 11th. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. But when it does happen, people go out of their minds for that moment. And I think what you saw this weekend, you saw chalk. The higher seeded teams, every home team won, and they won big for the most part, other than Clemson and Texas. But if Clemson beats a Texas, now your eyes are open wide. You're like, oh, Clemson might be able to beat this Arizona State team. They might be in the Final Four. They weren't even supposed to be in this thing. So for me, it's about advertising dollars and people getting more eyeballs to the teams and watching the games, but also just the opportunity for one of those lower seeds to go into Ohio State and upset a team that is supposed to win. For me, that's the part of it, and I don't have a problem with 12 teams. I wouldn't have a problem with 16 teams because I think people are still going to tune in for the hope of potentially having that upset.
Yeah, I guess the way I look at it now is, again, it's a work in progress for everybody involved with the committee and college football playoff system. But when I do look at it a week from now, 10 days from now, like, some of these matchups are going to be epic. As this gets closer to the finish line, when you get down to your last group of teams, like, it's going to be some really serious matchups. And I think that's where it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you think that an Arizona State or a Boise State needs to win for this to be successful? Or, because if it ends up being the top 4 teams in the nation, not based on seeding, but based on ranking, it's like, well, what was this even for?
Well, I think it's, like I said, it's the opportunity. Now you get Penn State playing Boise State, and you get to see whether or not Boise State, what they've done all year long, if they can match up against a tough Penn State team. They matched up against a very tough Oregon team and took them down to the wire at Oregon. Now, this is what I talked about. You're playing at a neutral site. That Boise State team went to Oregon and almost beat them in Eugene. So when you get on a neutral field, it's an opportunity where all things are equal. You're not dealing with the elements. You're not dealing with the crowd noise. You don't have to prepare, a silent count and all of those things. You don't have to prepare for being in the huddle and not being able to communicate when you're on offense. So I'm excited about that opportunity. I'm excited to watch Notre Dame go against a Georgia team because I honestly think we have written Notre Dame off because of one loss this year. Early, the second week of the season, everybody has said this team stinks. And all they have done is won every game since then. And here they are going against the number 2 team in the country at Georgia and have an opportunity. They're playing against a backup quarterback to go in there and beat the hell out of Georgia.
Did you think Notre Dame looked good on Friday?
I
didn't think they did. That game stunk. So that game was not fun.
I think Notre Dame, they have explosive players. Jeremiah Love took off 98 yards, and then he only ended up with 112 yards, which I'm still baffled by because I think he had 6 or 8 carries, 110, 112 yards, and you had a 98-yard touchdown. You should be up around 180, 150 at the least. So maybe they weren't consistent in how they kept going about their business, but I thought they got the job done. Indiana, that game got closer towards the end. Indiana finally started some garbage points. So that score is not indicative of what the actual game was. that was a 27-3, 27-10 type of game the entire game. So I thought Notre Dame did what they needed to do. They may have let their foot off the gas just a little bit towards the end, and that's what allowed Indiana to score a couple of touchdowns. But I thought I thought Notre Dame was fine. Jamie?
Yep. Notre Dame?
No, yeah.
Yeah, they're fine.
As Jamie Rivers, I'm Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh. Coming up, we have some questions about one of the positions for the Blues, and we've had some people chirping and texting in saying maybe there's time for some change. We'll talk about it next when we come back on the Fast Lane.
Nobody does happy hour like my friends over at Twin Peaks. They've got great little menu items that they have daily, also great cocktails that they make specifically for happy hour. We know that they've got a great selection of bourbons, which I personally thank them for. And they've got the flavored vodkas. They've got the Pink Whitney. They've got the 29-degree man-sized draft. So good, so good. And the menu is fantastic. They're always upgrading the menu. They're putting new items on there. But one thing that they've had for a couple of years now is the Billionaire's Bacon Burger. It is great. They've got that sriracha pimento cheese on top of it. It's melted a little bit. So good. And wash that down with the 29-degree man-sized draft. You won't be sorry. Any sporting event that you're looking to check out, too, maybe the Blues game, maybe an NBA game, maybe a college football game, lots of those going on. Lots of TVs over at Twin Peaks are going to take care of you and get your game on, your favorite game. And then the staff is fantastic. They're always great with suggestions for menu items and cocktails, and they're there to have a great time. And that's all my friends over at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
If you need cash out for the holidays, you got to call my guy, Stewie, from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. He can help you out. Or if you're not looking for cash out, maybe you're looking for that brand new dream home, but you don't know how the loan process works. Maybe you want to move quickly. Again, call Stewie on his personal cell phone number, 314-324-4440. That's right. It's his personal cell phone number. I've seen this guy work miracles when it comes to unique financial situations, but still getting that dream home for a couple that doesn't know if their finances line up. Stewie can work wonders. He's always on top of what the Federal Reserve is doing, where rates are going. So when you become a client of his, refis, they're easy to do. He'll call you back if, now's not a great time to refi, but you still are interested. He'll call you back when the rates are low and you can lock some things in. So again, call Stewie, 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan.
NMLS number 226715.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues take on the Detroit Red Wings tonight. Pregame starts at 5 o'clock. Puck drop is at 6. We'll talk with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, at 4:15. So stay tuned for that. Once again, Blues and Red Wings tonight right here on 101 ESPN. Over the weekend, Carey's Illini defeated BK's Mizzou Tigers 80-77. We'll get to that eventually. I'm sure Carey is going to want to pump up his former college. But coming up next, I'm not saying it, Carey. Coming up next, we're going to dive into more of your St. Louis Blues. There's some questions between the pipes. We'll discuss that next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I am Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers, who's on the road in Detroit preparing for the Blues versus Red Wings tonight. And Jamie, we started getting some messages, some texts over the weekend, and there were some concerns about a specific position for the Blues and questions beginning to be asked.
Fourth line left wing?
Yeah, no, not that one, because I think the WTF has that sewed up. They're good. But there was another.
Center position, Radek Fox.
Well, we do have some questions there up the middle. There are a lot of questions about, when they're going to make some additions or if they need to make some additions. There's been questions there, but there's another position that has been talked about heavily, and that is the goaltending position. I want to get your...
They got two great goalies. Isn't that great?
Yeah, they do. And if you want to chime in, you can text into the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646 or leave us a mic via the ESPN 101 mic drop app. And so, Jamie, there are questions about whether or not Jordan Binnington or Joel Hofer should be between the pipes going forward and being in there more. So looking at the stats, Marshy gave me some statistics. 25 games for Jordan Binnington, 13-3 with an .896 save percentage and 3 goals against average. Hofer, 12 games, 7-3-1, .909 save percentage and a .263 goals against average. And there are questions about who should actually be in the pipes more than the other. What are your thoughts?
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, you guys are the ones coming up with the question. You're the ones that are fielding these thousands of texts that have been coming in.
They do come in. There are a lot of them. And sometimes it's a bit much to respond to all of them. So I think Jordan Binnington has earned the right to be the starter. I think he's a Stanley Cup champion. He's done a fantastic job. But we often talk about, and you know this, Jamie, as a former player, the players that are playing better are the ones that get more opportunities. And that's just the nature of the business. So if the opportunities, I was looking at it, Jordan Binnington is 0-6 in his last 6 starts. They have not won a game he started since they played in Calgary, which is the beginning of this month, December 5th.
Did they get a big point in Dallas because he stood on his head like
They did get a big point in Dallas.
Damn superhero?
They did. He was, and so that's the other part that people need to realize and recognize, because you talk about this often. Losing games as a goalie is not solely on you. It's not like you're out there by yourself and not having opportunities or not having the assistance from the other players on the ice. You do have to have a full team effort to be as good as you need to be in goal.
Yeah, so here's where I'm at with it. I like to joke around and have fun, but in all seriousness, the Blues have 2 really good goalies, and that's a good thing for them, because if for whatever reason Jordan Binnington is hitting a patch of maybe not getting the bounces or making the saves when he needs to, then you have Joel Hofer. And let's not forget that early in the year, Joel Hofer he didn't come out of the gates, blazing. They had to go to Jordan Binnington more often than not because Joel Hofer was kind of struggling. There's going to be ebbs and flows to the season for both goaltenders. What you ultimately don't want to have happen, you don't want them both to be going through a rut at the same time. Mm-hmm. That's where it becomes a real problem. And if we wanted to even dive deeper into it, our very first segment today, we talked about lack of scoring. Well, if you're Jordan Binnington and you're giving up 2 goals or 3 goals on a night to a really good team, then based on the stats and the numbers, you don't have a chance to win. You don't, because the Blues aren't scoring enough. And in some games, just the other team scoring one goal is more than enough. So when you look at wins and losses for Jordan Binnington, and the Dallas game is a perfect example of that, is, the Blues weren't able to score more than the opposition, and Dallas flooded the net with pucks all night long, and Jordan Binnington did the best he could. He got them to overtime and then got beat by a hell of a play by Matt Duchene in overtime. Could he be playing better? Yes, he could be. I mean, you want to have your goalie above 900 for a save percentage. He's not there. But I will bounce this back to both of you. Mm-hmm. If the playoffs started tomorrow, who's your starting goalie?
Oh, it's Jordan Binnington for sure.
I agree. Yeah, go ahead.
No, so that's just my point. He's going to be able to win you playoff series. Now, you got to get to the playoffs, and you got to win games to get to the playoffs. And I think that Joel Hofer is going to play a huge part in the rest of the season. I think he's going to play more than he's played. I think that's by design for a couple of reasons. One, he's earned that opportunity. Two, it's that point of his career to start playing more hockey games. And three, he has played very well recently. I think you'll see Jordan Binnington play 2 out of every 3 games moving forward, where it used to be 3 out of, Jordan Binnington would get 7 out of 10 games. I don't think it's going to be that way anymore. I think you're going to see a smaller gap there. You're going to get more games for Hofer. Meanwhile, Binnington's still going to get the lion's share.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is that something that Benner needs, playing so many games over the course of the last few years based on what the goalie tandem was? Do you think that he just needs a little bit more of a rest and like a reset or something like that to really get him back? And again, like you just mentioned it, like it's not his fault the team can't score goals.
Yeah, exactly. And some of that would cure a lot of things. If you're able to put 3 goals on the board, so far this year, I forget exactly what the record is for the Blues, but when they score 3 goals or more, the record's fantastic because they have goaltending that can close the doors on the opposition. But when it comes to Jordan Binnington, I think, like I said 2 minutes ago, I think he'll play 2 out of every 3 games, which means we're going to see a lot more Joel Hofer. And that's fine with me. And getting a little more rest for Jordan Binnington, I'm good with that too. He's played a lot of hockey, like you said, Marshy, and he's been leaned upon heavily in times where the team hasn't been good. And that's a lot of difficult minutes as a goalie. There's not just playing. He's playing lots of hard minutes at that point. And so I think Joel Hofer is more than ready and up to the task to jump in and play more hockey, give the Blues more time in the net.
Well, I disagree with both of you all because I think Binnington and Hofer can score a goal, and I don't like how you all just dismiss them and their ability in that manner. We've seen a goal by a goalie this year, so, just stop that nonsense. We do have some breaking news.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
We got breaking news. So last week, our station had the Hubby Awards, and that's for Hubbard, Truffle Hubbard, not hubbies, not husbands, but Hubbard Awards. And unfortunately, this award show takes place during our show, so we were unable to attend. But one of our members did indeed win an award, and it is our very own Jamie Rivers. Yeah! Oh, boy. Now, let me tell you, I'll put this up for our audience to see. This award goes to Jamie Rivers for the most likely to not read emails. Jamie, you did it. You did it. You did it for the fast lane. We love you, brother. Nobody else could have done it, but damn it, you got it done. Yes, we got us a hubby. Woo! Very proud of you, Jamie. Speech. Give us what you got. What are your thoughts
guys,
on this?
First of all, I'd like to thank God. Second of all, I want to thank my teammates for never really asking me to read emails or sending them to me. They prefer the text message method or in person, for that matter.
Yeah.
It usually works better.
Yeah. Well,
but
text messages don't work either, Jamie, because I texted you over the weekend, clearly.
It's my speech, Carey. Okay? Until they play the music, I'd like the microphone, please.
Sorry.
I also would like to thank all of my coworkers who send endless emails that mean nothing, and also the reply all guys. Those are the best. I love those emails. You're the reason I don't read emails because you reply all to everything, which may seem funny to you, but it wastes my time. So, on that note, I'm happy to accept the least likely to read his emails. It's funny, though, because I read all the emails that make money.
Agreed. Jamie, congratulations.
There's the music, Jamie.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Congrats. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we got Jamie's keys to the game, all 76 of them, and we play the Light the Lamp game. That's next on the Fast Lane.
If you love sports betting like I do, then I have to tell you right now, go download Circus Sports Illinois, the app. You can find it on their website, or you can find them in the App Store too. And the reason that this app is so much better than all the other ones out there, one, there's no promos here. They're not giving you fake money to try and spend on their site. No, the promo is in the price and the payouts. And it's an old school Vegas model, catering to those familiar with betting, which is why their lines are as aggressive as they are. They got tight money line splits. You're getting the best odds out of any app out there. I can tell you this, go to any app out there, then go to the Circus Sports Illinois app. You're getting the best odds over on the Circus Sports Illinois app. And there's no betting limits either, which make it a lot of fun out there. And it's user-friendly, and you can bet on your favorite teams and players with ease. It's sports betting the way it should be. And check out the lines for futures bets. Those are the best as well that you can find on any app out there. So don't miss out on the action. Download and bet like a pro with your Circus Sports Illinois app today and join in on the excitement. If you're someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers, and it is time for Jamie's keys to the game. And Jamie, how many keys you got today? I know you like to keep it short and sweet, so what do you got? 5, 15, 25?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, we'll keep track of them.
Yeah, Carey, it's going to be a surprise. You know, if I just give you the number, then you know, and then you can kind of tune out till I'm at number 5 or number 6. I want you invested in this.
Okay, I'm here. What you got? Let's go.
All right. First of all, you want to have a good start tonight. You just do. It's the last game before the break. Everybody's heads should be on business, but you know, it's not always the case. You get a few guys on each team that are still they're thinking about family, friends, and holidays and things like that. So pounce on the opposition. Get out to a good start. And one way to do that with key number 2 is getting pucks in deep. Make these Red Wings defensemen go back there all night long. Just like Lionel Richie said, get the puck in there all night long.
I like it.
Maybe not the puck, but you know, it's a great song. Get in there, work the corners, keep the puck down low. The more you can possess the puck in the offensive zone, the more it sucks the life out of the other team, and it also increases your chances of drawing penalties. Why is that important, you ask? Well, because the Red Wings are 31st in the NHL on the penalty kill. Terrible. Which means get on the power play and go to work. And that's key number 3 or 4 here. I don't know where I'm at. I'm kind of lost right now. It's all a bit of a blur, but score on the power play. You get your chances on the power play, you got to make it count. You're a team that hasn't scored a lot of goals here recently. We talked about that already for almost an entire hour. And you got to score goals. You've got to find a way to put the puck in the back of the net, and the power play is certainly one way to do it. I think playing physical tonight. I'd like to see a lot of physicality. Again, testing the give a crap meter on the other team. You know, the Red Wings team has been underperforming this year so far. Talking to people in their management team and stuff, and they're disappointed. They thought that they'd be further along right now. So give them a reason to shut it down for the holidays. Get physical, get fast, get in their face as much as you possibly can. Defend well as well. Take away the middle of the ice. They've got still some really good players. DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, Dylan Larkin. Good old Big Daddy Vladdy's here in Detroit. You know he's going to want to stick it to the Blues if he can, and play those guys hard. Make it difficult for them. If you make them try to find good ice, but make them do it difficultly, they probably won't do it. So those are my keys for the game today. Don't know what number we ended at that, but maybe the text line can tally it up.
I didn't count either. I was so focused on the actual keys that I stopped counting.
It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of the keys.
It's always that way with Jamie.
Yeah.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Indeed. Time for Light the Lamp.
And a couple of guys can really shoot the puck.
Shooter! I must confess you scored first.
Well, who was the first person?
Breakaway! Shoots! Score! We got hockey to learn.
All right, Marcy, what are our standings on this game of ours that I can't find a way to get a goal?
Well, no one scored. No one had Oscar Sundqvist scoring the other day. Yeah. So the standings remain the same, 8-7-5-3.
Okay.
So I'll go first. Give me Robert Thomas.
Robert the Thomas.
It's a good pick.
All right. I was at the rink this morning talking to some of the boys in the locker room, and one guy in particular, and I kind of rattled his cage a little bit. I said, hey, buddy, you know, you got me out to a great start this year. I got you in my first goal pool. You think you might be able to score, a goal tonight? And that was Jake Neighbors. And he said, I guarantee you a goal tonight.
Whoa!
So, wow. I got Jake Neighbors.
All right. Give me Vladimir Tarasenko.
Whoa!
Write it down. How many is that's a 3-pointer?
Oh, no. That's a former Blue. Actually, Carey, you can have him. He's got 4 goals this year. You can have him.
Can I have him? Do I get 4 points if I get it? No? Okay. You know what? Give me Dylan.
No.
I'm just asking. If you don't ask, Jamie, I've learned the answer is always no. So I ask questions because I want a definitive answer. So, yeah, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So it could be yes. Give me Dylan Holloway.
Anthony is going to go with Pavel Buchnevich.
Interesting.
The Booch.
Jamie, you talked about...
Can I give you guys my...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I give you guys my bet the board before I forget?
Yes.
Oh, please do. Or don't.
I'm going to go on the money line, Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, -125.
All righty.
All right.
Jamie, you were talking about the holidays. Are you ready for the holidays? Are you got all your shopping done or not even close, have you? You're not even...
Carey, I've been on the road for the entire month of December. I have packages that are waiting for me at home. So I have stockpiled things that I've done. Now, tomorrow will be a lot of gift wrapping.
Okay.
I need some time to do that. And I'm not a good gift wrapper. In fact, I had planned on buying these really cool gift bags that I saw on like Instagram or one of these places. I was like, ooh, that's perfect. I forgot to order them. So that's not great. Not great. So I'll be wrapping a lot of gifts tomorrow. I guarantee there'll be something last minute that not forgotten, just haven't had a chance to do it. But looking forward to seeing everybody. It's going to be a good time.
Well, Jamie, we won't see you until Friday. So Merry Christmas and be safe out there and have a good time and have a good call.
Thanks, buddy. Merry Christmas to you guys, too. I love you guys. You know I love doing this show with you guys, so have a great holiday.
Indeed. The Blues take on the Red Wings tonight at 6 p.m. The pregame show begins at 5. You can check it out here. Coming up next, we have NFL Week 16 instant reaction. What did we learn? We'll get into it next on the Fast Lane.
Elevate the look of your vehicle with Pure Performance, your one-stop shop for all aftermarket accessories. They've got absolutely everything over there. They've got a 25,000 square foot facility located in St. Peters, right off of Highway 70. And no matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered. They've got the fender flares, exterior lighting. They've got convertible tops, mud flaps. They've got all of the truck bed accessories, any kind of body styling, body part. You name it, they've got you covered at Pure Performance. It doesn't matter what vehicle you drive either. A Jeep, a Bronco, a pickup truck, a car, a minivan. Pure Performance takes great care of you. But you got to stop by. Check out everything in that awesome showroom. When you stop by, ask for Shelby or Caleb. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you there. They're going to love hearing that. They're going to ask you what you're looking to do with your vehicle, and they're going to ask you what your budget is, and then they're absolutely going to maximize your budget for you. And then the technicians do such an amazing job with your vehicle. You barely recognize it when you see it. Makes any car look like a brand new car, and that's my friends over at Pure Performance. So please stop by and check it all out, or visit them online. They got a great website. That website's pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh, and we had a pinch hitter, reliever come in, Alex Ferrario from the BK and Ferrario Show. Alex, thank you for joining us.
Where's my Hell's Bells music?
You got the red lights.
That's true.
You do. We did give you the lights.
That's true. I appreciate that. Christmas colors too, Carey.
Christmas colors. They got some red in there, so it feels Hell's Bells-ish, just not the music.
I appreciate that.
So going into break, we talked about when we come back, we're going to go over the Week 16 instant reaction. Some really good games this weekend. Some teams maybe struggling in places that you thought should have been a blowout. The Buffalo Bills come to mind as one of those teams. What did you take away from this weekend's action from some of these games?
So a couple of big picture ones. One, you just mentioned the Buffalo Bills. Like that team, although I'm not doubting them because of the way Josh Allen is playing, I still wonder if that defense is going to be able to get stops. Because what is that? That's that's 2 weeks in a row that they give up like 40-plus points. This one, you keep the Patriots involved in that game. I'll tell you the bigger one for me, though, Carey. I'm starting to put more stock into the Washington Commanders.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it's just because the NFC is so freaking wide open right now with all of the Lions injuries. I just, for some reason, sorry, Marshy, I can't get excited about Sam Darnold and the Vikings.
Did you not watch the game yesterday?
I watched it, man.
Alex,
he threw an absolute dime.
I get it, but it's Sam
on 1 foot to JJ.
It's Sam Darnold
to win the game.
It's JJ McCarthy.
No, Justin Jefferson.
I know. Okay, sorry, Marshy. But then you got the Eagles, and with Jalen Hurts, and then the concussion stuff. The Commanders played a hell of a football game.
Yeah.
And they are going to have to win in the playoffs by Jaden Daniels driving down the field. But I'm starting to believe a little bit more that they actually could do some type of damage in the NFC.
So for me, I can't buy into that win just yet because Jalen Hurts obviously went out with a concussion, missed the majority of the game. And so for me, I think if Jalen Hurts is healthy in that game, they probably win going away. That was a good win for the Commanders. Fortunately or unfortunately for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen got hurt. Hopefully he's back and ready to roll in the next week or so. But I can't buy into that. I've talked about it all the last couple of weeks. One of the teams that I think no one wants to see come playoff time is the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
They are a team, and they're just finding ways to win. It hasn't been pretty. They did score 40-plus against the Bills a couple of weeks ago. They only scored 12 last week against the 49ers. They scored 19 this week against the Jets. But I feel like when they are forced to keep up and score points at that rate, they are capable of doing it. And so, for me, that's a team that I've seen that is constantly just there. Because they have championship pedigree. Obviously, Aaron Donald is no longer there. The defense has changed. They're a lot younger, but you still got a lot of the veterans on the offensive side. And you got Matthew Stafford, you got Puka, you got Cooper Kupp, you got guys and Kyron Williams, guys that can be explosive on the offensive side of things. That, for me, is a team that scares me if I'm an NFC opponent playing them in a divisional round game, knowing that they're coming into my house and it could be a long day for them.
Especially for some of these defenses in the NFC. For how the Rams have that offensive ability to just shoot out if they have to. My only concern is the up and down of Matt Stafford, which, I mean, look, that's going to happen for a lot of guys. I think you could say the same thing for Jordan Love with the Packers, but when you're talking about a Lions defense that is just completely disheveled, when you're talking about a Packers who have been up and down, anybody from the NFC South, I'm not sure you're trusting. And even when you look at the Eagles, you've got an opportunity to put up points regardless when you have Stafford, Puka, Kupp, and Kyron Williams. That's the dynamic four guys that you'd want in any situation like that.
One of the surprising games, and I actually picked the Cowboys to win this game, was the Cowboys beating the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
That felt to me like this Cowboys team is they haven't been good, but they do have a lot of pieces, and Cooper Rush and those guys, that they're figuring some things out offensively. So for me, I felt like the Cowboys could win that game at home, and that's a terrible loss for the Buccaneers. You were leading that division.
It's everything.
The Falcons decided to make the change to Michael Penix Jr., and he goes in and they go up there. They beat the Giants this weekend. For me, that's a tough loss if you're the Buccaneers. You can't lose that game when you're a division-leading team right now, and you're playing against a team that was 6-8 going into that game.
Yeah, and their best player, CeeDee Lamb, is obviously going through a little bit of a struggle in terms of his health, but he's finding ways to push through. You can't lose that game. Now, the good news for the Buccaneers is, I don't know if it's good news, but you're taking on the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints, although the Panthers might really stick it to you compared to losing that game against the Cowboys. But, like, you left the door open for the Falcons, which is a little concerning if you're Tampa Bay. Falcons and Commanders is going to be a hell of a football game. Basically, Penix Jr. had that to where he just needed to run the ball. But, I mean, it's going to come down to that last week where you've got Falcons, Panthers, and you've got Tampa, New Orleans Saints probably for that top spot in the NFC South. And I got to be honest with you, Carey, those are two games that I could care less about, but they're fighting for a top spot in the NFC South.
You know what I find interesting? I'm looking at the AFC playoff bracket, the standings right now, and I'm looking at all the number one teams on the AFC side. The Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Texans, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are all the number one seeds in their division. And correct me, tell me if you think I'm crazy for saying this. They all feel vulnerable in some way, form, or fashion. And the Kansas City Chiefs are 14-1. But they might be the most vulnerable of all of those teams that are leading their division. Now, granted, they're going to have, the Chiefs will probably have the first round bye. They and I think they do, depending on how the next couple of games pan out. But they are the most vulnerable, but all of those teams that are leading their division, it feels like it could be one and done if it's the wrong matchup. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I totally agree with that. I mean, just pick apart, right? I mean, I unfortunately feel like the Texans are already one and done. Like when you lose Tank Dell, when you've got a team that just, and I think they lost.
Stephon Diggs has been out for a while.
Jimmy Ward, they said, is done for the season, and their defense already has been kind of struggling. So they feel already kind of like a one and done team. But I'm with you. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, as much as they have surprised the hell out of me. It's still Russell Wilson, which I think you're always going to be a little questioning. The Chiefs, you're right. Unless Patrick Mahomes is just going to go Winter Soldier with his bionic leg, they're vulnerable in that sense. And then the Bills, we've already talked about the points they're giving up. I think if I were to pick a team, though, that I'd have the most confidence in, it's going to sound crazy to say, but it would be the Bills.
Really?
Just because Josh Allen's playing on a different level right now.
He is playing well. To me, but the thing that about the Bills that scares me, it scares me when they play a team like Houston and they played how poorly they did earlier this year. You go to Los Angeles and you get scored on in that manner and you lose that game and Josh Allen plays out of his mind. And then you play the Patriots. Granted, it's a divisional game, right? Those games, I don't care how terrible the team is. When you play a team twice a year, every single year, they know you. They know you really well. They know exactly who you are, what you like to do, what you can't stand, what you can't withstand, and all of those things. So it's a tough matchup. But it shouldn't be a 3-point game with New England having an opportunity to win that game. That's if you have aspirations of being a championship team, a team that is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, you can't have that. And so, granted, they came out of it with a win. They were able to get on the right side of things. But for me, those are the things that scare me about the Buffalo Bills is when I feel like it should be an elite butt whooping, at times you're like, what was that? You have a letdown. So that scares me about them, especially coming playoff time.
Well, it's kind of like that Commander-Saints game last week to where it's like, you talk about the Commanders and it's like, wait a minute, you're going to let the Saints call back into this one?
And almost have a chance to win.
Totally understand that. The one thing I will say about the Bills and why I would put like a little skeptical sign next to it is if your defense can't get the stop, that sets up perfectly for another Allen Mahomes drop-off to where you give the ball for 90 seconds. You need your defense to get a stop. And right now, that's 3 straight weeks where they haven't been able to get the stop. And so what are you? I think that's the biggest question.
The other game, and we got a message from Anthony's biceps in the snake pit, and they did say, welcome, Alex. Welcome to the snake pit.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Those guys and gals love it here.
I appreciate it.
Anthony's biceps said, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, let's talk about them, damn it. Our best player, best wide receiver has been out for the last couple of weeks, and I can tell you honestly, that does change things offensively. Russell Wilson had a terrible throw. He threw a pick six. That hurts. He fumbled down by the goal line. That obviously hurts as well.
He got rocked.
He should have slid. You got to get down, man. It ain't. My coach used to say, "Hey, know when the fight is over, get down. You got people trying to harm. Get down. It's okay.
Down fast.
Know when the fight is over. It's okay. Live to play another play. Damn it, hold on to the football. Do not give it away under any circumstance." And he did in 2 occasions yesterday. One that cost you points and one that led directly to points. And so for me, that's a tough thing. But when you have George Pickens out for as long as he's been out for the last couple of weeks, you see the change in this offense. And this is what I was telling people when the Steelers decided to go with Russell Wilson. They were lacking that deep play ability because Justin Fields just was unable to get the ball downfield to George Pickens. And then they were unable to get the running game going. So when you have both of those facets working, when you got George Pickens in, when you got Russell Wilson in, and you can make that connection deep, it forces teams to stay back a little bit. It forces more eyes to George Pickens, which means Pat Freiermuth has some availability to get open. You got Calvin Austin available to get open. You got Van Jefferson. You got a multitude of guys that you can get the ball to, and they can make plays. But when you have that number one receiver out and you don't have a complimentary receiver, life is going to be hard for you. And I think that's where the Steelers are now. They play the Kansas City Chiefs on Wednesday, on Christmas Day. If George Pickens is playing, I'm taking the Steelers to win that game. Yep. And so I like, because of the defense that they play, and obviously George Pickens being able to stretch the field, and that'll open up some things for the run game as well. I got the Steelers on Wednesday if Pickens is playing.
I'm with you. And BK and I like to call it YOLO offense. And, it sounds negative, but not in the sense with Russell Wilson, because if he puts it up, more times than not, George Pickens is coming down with it, and that's the big first down play. That's the big touchdown for you. That's keeping the drive alive. And look, it didn't look pretty against the Baltimore Ravens, but it's also one of those that I've seen it on the other side, where they've found a way to keep Baltimore pretty quiet. And you just mentioned it. When you're taking on a team consistently twice a year, like the Steelers and Ravens, you're going to figure it out at some point. It's hard to win both games. Yeah. So I'm with you. I would pick them over the Chiefs if George Pickens is playing, and I do not really care about what happened in that Baltimore game, because they've got a defense that keeps them alive. And regardless of how Russell Wilson looked in that one, for some reason, man, he has found ways to have success this year.
Yeah, the defense is going to keep them in games. Getting after the quarterback is their specialty. And so if you got an injured one-legged Patrick Mahomes, and now what's crazy to me, I gain more and more respect for Patrick Mahomes every single year, because quarterbacks, let's be honest, they're not supposed to be tough guys. It used to grind my gears when I watched Jim Harbaugh on the sideline with cleats on. It used to really piss me off. Dude, why are you wearing cleats? You're a quarterback, bro. Stop. It used to bother me, right? Because I don't look at quarterbacks as especially tough people.
It makes sense.
But Patrick Mahomes is a tough guy. Yeah. To play through a high ankle sprain and not just stand in the pocket. He made some plays with his legs, scored a rushing touchdown, took a shot. For me, watching him week after week, he is. I mean, he's going to go down as probably the greatest quarterback to play this game if he continues to win championships. And he's a tough one.
I think that's why people hate him.
That probably is.
What you just said.
It excites me. And I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm not a guy, but I do have respect for guys that put their bodies on the line. And as a teammate, people don't understand what it does for your teammates when they know, man, this guy got an ankle sprain. It's a high ankle sprain. This is an injury that should generally keep you out 2 to 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. And here he is running around, making plays with his legs, not standing in the pocket, not worried about whether or not, and it's a regular season. It's not the playoffs. Yeah. Right. You're still fighting to get that number 1 overall seed and have a bye week. And he shows up and plays. You're like, I don't got no excuse. Yep. If my quarterback can do it, then hell, everybody on the team, that's the expectation. The standard is set. We all going to do it. And I think Andy Reid spoke to that, just the amount of juice it gives your team when your best player, regardless of how much he's getting paid, regardless of how much pain he's dealing with, he shows up and shows out. Hey, man, you don't have no excuse. I don't have an excuse. We all got to play. Yep. And we're going to get it done. And so that's what Patrick Mahomes has done for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are rolling. But they got my Steelers on Wednesday on Christmas Day, and I got the Steelers.
I'm with Carey on that one. Sorry.
That's Alex Ferrario, Andrew Marshall, Carey Davis. Coming up next, we got What's Trending on the Fast Lane when we return on 101 ESPN.
What's trending now in the world of sports?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
What's trending now is brought to you by Goodwill, creating opportunities and changing lives. Together, building a brighter future. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Alex Ferrario. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Before we get to Carey's Illinois Fighting Illini, as they took down Mizzou this weekend, 80-77. We got to dive into Paul Goldschmidt, who is now a member of the New York Yankees. Gentlemen, how would you feel if Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado joined each other in the great city of New York City?
Hell yes.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to see that play out somewhere else?
You know, I understand why people's reaction would be like, you can't have both of them. They're going to make you pay. What do you care? What do you care if both go on to be MVPs for the New York Yankees?
That'd be tough.
It would be tough, sure. But, like, where are the Cardinals at right now? Where are they at?
No, I think it'd just be tough because I think everyone would be like, where was that last year or the year before?
Totally.
I can help you with that. They probably, well, we didn't have Aaron Judge hitting in the middle of the lineup. That helps when you're trying to, hey, if you got a guy.
Yeah, you got somebody who can actually handle the spotlight.
If you got a guy,
yeah,
it probably helps with other guys being around him.
That would be my reaction to it. It's like, I think that tells you that those guys weren't supposed to be spotlight players.
Yeah,
They're supposed to be complementary pieces, which, look, like, it would suck to see, sure, but I don't think the Cardinals would be an MVP Paul Goldschmidt or an MVP Nolan Arenado away from winning this year. Would it get into the playoffs? Sure. They got a lot more issues that they got to figure out. So if it opens up spots to play, Carey, I am all on board with it.
So there was a report over the weekend that the Cardinals declined an offer from the Yankees for Nolan Arenado. You saw that. Mm-hmm. And so what is your thoughts on that? Because my mind goes into a bunch of different places. Because if you're saying, if my agent finds out that you declined an offer from one of the teams on my wish list, and then you tried to trade me to one of the teams not on my wish list, I'm probably not going to do what you want me to do in that regard. And so I wonder if that played into, because we found out that that trade offer happened before the Cardinals made that trade offer with the Astros. Do you think that played anything to it? And if it did, I said last week, I became a huge Nolan Arenado fan because I don't know if you know this about me, Alex. I'm very stubborn. Yeah. And I have people that are stubborn are my people. Like people that don't give a damn and they'll just say no because they are those are my people.
So
because
big Torrey Krug big Nolan Arenado fan.
Hell yeah. You earned the right, don't go. Hell no. The hell with them. So I was thrilled. Yeah. He said no. But I wonder if that played into the decision of you all didn't do what I said I wanted to do, so now why would I do what you want me to do? Yeah. And that feels kind of that way.
Yeah, well, once again, I don't blame Nolan Arenado at all for doing that. Because, like, look, you've played enough to do this, and it could be part of it to where Nolan Arenado basically saw the decline and was like, that's where I wanted to go. So he's like, no, I'm not going to go to Houston. I also understand him not going to Houston because that team just got rid of Kyle Tucker. Right. They just got rid of Alex Bregman. And as much as I believe if I'm Nolan Arenado, I can help a team win, your team didn't get any better.
Correct.
And we had John Denton on last Thursday, and John Denton basically told us, look, Arenado's hoping that the Dodgers still can get a deal done. And if I'm him, if I want to go to one place and one place only, you better send me to that place. Otherwise, I'm going to really have to think about where I want to go.
Indeed. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But to your question, Marshy, if they both ended up on the Yankees somehow and they won a championship, I would stand and applaud.
Yeah.
Because they've had great careers. Yeah. They did a great job here. They just didn't get it done. Yep. But it would obviously, to me, it would be a sign that there were better pieces around them. And to your point, maybe they are more complementary pieces, especially at this age of their career, than being the focal point, which the Cardinals needed them to be the last 2 years, and they just were unable to get it done.
And by the way, too, this is nothing against Goldie and Arenado. I think both, they had disappointing careers in St. Louis because you were hoping for more.
Can you say that, though? If one won an MVP and one finished third in the MVP voting in the same year.
I think I could say it for the postseason. So maybe it was postseason disappointment because both guys were basically shadows of themselves in the playoffs when it mattered most. But I also, it's the slice of the blame pie, right, Carey? I can give 50% to the players and say you didn't live up to expectations. I can also give 50% of it to the organization and say you didn't really put the best product around them.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Carey, let's hear it.
ILLINI. I went to the game yesterday, bragging rights. It is a fabulous event. I do love the way that half of the crowd is in orange and blue and the other half is in black and gold. Yeah. I will say this, being at the arena yesterday, I did notice, Mizzou fans, our side of orange and blue is all orange and blue. I didn't see, a speckle, any pieces or parts of any black and gold in that area. It was none. I mean, maybe they kicked those guys and gals out, told them get the hell out of here, because in Champaign, we fight because we are the fighting Illini. So get the hell out of our section. But I didn't see that on the Mizzou side. I saw a lot of black and gold, but then I saw patches of orange and blue spread out throughout the Missouri Tiger side. And they didn't have much fight. It seemed to carry over to the court. I don't know. It just felt like the fighting Illini brought the fight, and the Missouri Tigers didn't. And I was told
they won by 3.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Marshall. Hey, they were up by 12 at one point, and Illinois started turning the damn ball over and let them back into the game. They were on their way to running them out of the gym, and Illinois said, "Nah, people watching. We got advertisers. They want to spend dollars. Let's make it a game, right?"
So they were playing with their food.
Yeah, they're playing with their food. Allowed them to get back into the game.
Good.
And then cut them out at the end. That's what we do. Fighting Illini, take the dub. That's, bragging rights. It should just be the Illini rights because we usually win that series. That's what we do here.
Now, Carey, don't use your fighting Illini mindset when I say what I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
I was actually more impressed with Mizzou walking away from that game than Illinois.
Why?
Because Mizzou was a team that couldn't win a damn game in the SEC last year, and they fought their way back with Illinois. Now, did they win? No. Absolutely not. Mark Mitchell, please don't take that shot at the end of the game. Do something different than that one. And they also had a couple of offensive rebounds, and it's like, wait, you're not going to. There was one play, Carey, when they were down or when they were up by a point, Mizzou in the second half. Mm-hmm. It's about 5 minutes left. Then he pulled down 2 offensive rebounds and did not score the basket.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Score it.
So I will say this I thought Mizzou, in my opinion, and being honest, I think they are a good team. I think they lack. They're not big enough inside, and the couple of bigs that they do have aren't as athletic as some of the guys that they're going to face. So when they play more athletic bigs, they're going to be in trouble, especially if it's a guy that's a stretch 4 or a 5 that can spread the court and pull that defender out and force him to guard on the perimeter. They're going to struggle with that. I saw just the size factor. For me, Illinois was much bigger than them. Mm-hmm. They got, Mizzou got a couple of guys, but those guys can't play big minutes because they're just not at that point in their career. I think Marshall, and I was talking to BK about this, Marshall's a freshman. He's probably going to be good, but he may not be ready just yet. Yeah. So I think they lack the size and the athleticism in that department. That will be the one thing, if I'm a Mizzou fan, that I will be watching out for, because I think Illinois kind of exposed that portion of their game or lack thereof.
I'll tell you the one thing, too, and you're absolutely correct, because that Kansas game, Mizzou was able, what's the guy whose name you just
said?
Marshall.
Yeah.
He had an excellent game against Kansas where he was going up against Dickinson on the other side. He was able to battle him. Didn't get that in the Illini game. Mizzou's able to force some turnovers. Yeah. What was it? 22 against Kansas, 19 against Illinois. The difference, though, is when Illinois got turnovers, they finished.
Right.
Mizzou missed a couple of those opportunities, and that's just an experienced team versus a still learning team.
And if I'm honest, Illinois turns the ball over they're too casual with the ball. I saw that against Tennessee late in the game. They turned the ball over, a terrible, egregious turnover that led to points where you're right there in that game against Tennessee. And then yesterday they had some of the same issues, just inbounding the ball.
Oh yeah,
it just you too careless at times. And I am a Brad Underwood fan. He goes crazy over here. He's my kind of guy, right? Because
gets red in the face.
He turns beet red, just loses his ever loving mind. I am a fan, and some of those turnovers, I'm right there with him. Like, what the hell are you doing? Take care of the damn ball, man. So that's one thing that the Illini are going to have to work on. But all in all, for me, great game by the Illini. Finish the game with a dub, come down to St. Louis and take over bragging rights like we do every year. My kind of time. Marshy, you love it. You got to love it.
I mean, I really don't have a dog in this fight, so I just like hearing what you have to say. I find it funny.
Yeah, we got somebody 314 CD. You suck. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's what he was going for.
Mission accomplished.
Right there, actually, is why you see Illini fans in the middle of Mizzou fans. They're going to hold their ground.
Yeah, we're not backing down. That was for me though. Because anytime I've gone to the bragging rights game, it's always one color on one side, one color on the other side, and to see portions or parts of the Mizzou side have orange and blue in them, it was a bit shocking.
I frankly, those are my favorite games to go to. Now, I don't get to go to a whole lot of college basketball games, but when you've got an entire stadium, one side and then the other, when it's 50-50 and the back and forth that we saw in the second half, those are just some of the, and I'm so glad Mizzou was competitive this year because the last couple of years it's like it was not that way. It was silent by the second half.
It was fun. Like when Mizzou started making their run, it was loud.
Yeah.
Like in our side, you just see everybody sitting down like, ugh. And they are screaming loud. Mizzou went on the run, made some baskets, made some stops, and Illinois turning the dang on ball over. But it was a really good game.
Fun.
It was a good matchup, man. That's a great, if you've never been, it's a great experience. If you are a Mizzou or an Illinois fan, if you've never been, and even if you're not, just to experience it is something that's special because you get college basketball. Like you said, normally it's the entire arena rooting for one team. In this one, you got half rooting for one and the other half rooting for the other.
It's like the ultimate college basketball experience.
It definitely is. That's Alex Ferrario, Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis. Coming up, we got advice with former athletes. Give us your text. Send us in your messages, any advice you want, any questions you may have for all of us former athletes. We can answer them. That's next on the Fast Lane.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues take on the Detroit Red Wings tonight, and you can listen to that one right here on 101 ESPN. We'll have the pregame for you with Alex Ferrario, who's joining us right here in the Fast Lane. That will start at 5. Puck drop will be at 6. We'll also talk with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, at 4:15, so stay tuned for that. Also, we just touched on it, but Illinois defeated Mizzou in the bragging rights game over the weekend, 80-77. If you missed that conversation or anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Schaefer Door Company 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have advice with former athletes coming up next. So get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Advice with former athletes next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by
Saliga
Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Give me some advice, quick.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Alex Ferrario. Alex, we have our segment called Advice with Former Athletes, and we have the listeners text in any advice they want in terms of sports, or do we always do sports, or is it life advice as well?
It's a little bit. It's a little bit of both.
Okay, well, you
a little
can,
bit of both.
Whatever advice you would like from former athletes, text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, and leave us a text and see if Marshy pulls it from the text line.
You guys just going to keep that plural for athlete this whole segment?
Athletes. Well, wait, listen.
It's a branding thing.
I was great at 8th grade hoops, if that matters to anybody.
That does matter, because I was too.
Okay.
And that wasn't my path. So,
you went on to have a Super Bowl championship. Pre- and post-game host. It's my Super Bowl.
And you do it every day, and you make the best, and it is awesome.
Well, how did you do in fantasy football this week? Did you win?
I am. Why'd you have to bring that up, man?
Well, I lost.
By the way, can I say collusion between you two?
How?
You sat St. Brown.
No, okay, so
listen.
Terry's over here saying
no.
When he he told me he was going to sit Penix and
that was
Terry's
dumb.
like,
it wouldn't have mattered. I trust me. I spent all yesterday looking at my damn lineup and wondering, is this going to screw me over? Because I had something good going, and I overthought it. I really did.
I screenshot the roster and I sent it to BK. They go, look at this crap. He's got St. Brown and Goff on the bench.
If you look back at their numbers against Chicago, the first time they played each other, they didn't do good.
You're not wrong.
In comparison to what I thought. I didn't think Josh Allen was going to have less than 10 points.
Yeah,
I was going to put up 50 points again. So I'm like, I need guys who are going to, maybe have that.
I get it.
That high ceiling. And
look,
I
just
screwed myself over.
I wasn't saying that you did it. I was just asking.
You just did, though.
No, I was just asking.
He insinuated.
Carey kind of he burrowed his eyebrows. I'm like, okay, no, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No, he's just happy that I didn't. I was happy.
To your questions, though, I'm a half point down on Randy.
Okay.
He's got Josh Jacobs in Green Bay's defense, and I've got Jordan Love. So I need this to be a love game more than I need the Saints to put up 30.
You need a shootout.
Yeah, I need the Saints
both teams to. There you go.
So if everybody could just cross their fingers and toes,
I don't know.
let's get a shootout tonight.
Put up 30 though. That's
21 would be fine as long as Jacobs doesn't get a damn touchdown.
Did the math though? If those two did play and where I wanted them to play, I think I still would have lost by 3. So it didn't matter.
Would have been worse.
That would have been worse.
It would have been way worse actually. So I was actually hoping that. Knowing that I would lose, I was hoping that I'd lose by an amount that wouldn't frustrate me.
Yeah.
Either way, though, if you lost, it's a loss, which is good when they're on the bench.
Exactly. All right, let's head to the Air Comfort Service text line from FedEx Colton. So my girlfriend's son loves hockey now from watching me and wants to play. When should we start? Like what age? He turns 5 next month, but I know every 2 weeks he will grow out of gear. It's an expensive sport, but I know he needs to learn to skate more than anything. What do you suggest?
Oh man, that's a good one. So I would say you get him out there like right away. I loved hockey when I was growing up, but I never got out there to play until I got older in high school, and then I kind of started playing roller hockey. Man, I wish if I could go back in time to go out there early and get used to it. Yes, you're going to be buying all new gear, and like financials aside, that's the tough part. But man, if you could find programs to get them in, I know First Community, I do live reads on pregame with them. They do a learn to play program where they like pay for a lot of the gear as your kid's growing up. I would say get them out there as much as possible so that they can get used to it.
Yeah, I would say get on the ice or get him on the ice as quick as possible. I believe I started, you said you started late. I started skating when I was like 2 or 3.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like like, hey, I can walk. All right, let's put him in skates.
Yeah.
Like,
that's awesome.
So,
I'd go out there, but I wasn't out there enough to like learn hockey.
Right.
Like I was still learning how to skate as I got older.
Right. So like once you need to learn how to skate before you learn how to play hockey.
Right.
Right. So like getting the skating down is probably the most important. So I'd say do it as quick as possible.
And maybe just take them skating consistently and then see if they like it. And if they like it, then just add in, bring a stick and bring a hockey puck and let them skate around with that. See if they like that before you get them into organized hockey.
Bring a hockey stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
make sure we.
Oh, sorry. That was very insensitive.
You guys would know this. Like the funny thing with kids, they change their mind of what they like every 3 weeks.
Yeah. You know how frustrating that is. You pay for all that gear and now they're like, I don't want to do it anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
I bet you are.
I don't yet, which I'm actually very nervous about as they get older, because my oldest is in dance now. She likes dance, and so we take her there, and she's really good about it. Our youngest, she's not in dance yet, but like she'll want to go 1 week, and then she'll cry because she can't go in with her sister, and then the next week she'll be like, I don't care. Like, and this is why we're not putting you in this yet.
Like I remember my my little nephew. He's young, and Christmas, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago. His birthday is very close to Christmas. I think it's just a month or so away from Christmas. And so at Christmas, I give him this like superhero gift because he's into like the Marvel and DC characters. And so the next time around to give another gift, I'm like, all right. I asked my brother, like, does he want another superhero toy or whatever? He's like, oh no, he's not into that anymore. He likes Transformers now. I'm like, it's been like a month. Like, what's going on?
I was like that though when I was younger, because 1 week it was baseball, the next week it was hockey, and then it was basketball. Like I rotated through them a lot when I was younger.
All right, from the 636, is there ever a reason to turn down an endorsement deal?
Yeah, if it doesn't fit with your who you are as a person, if you feel like this goes against your morals or goes against, some things that you believe in, then I think so. I don't think that all money is good money. And if you put yourself in a position where you're saying you represent something or you endorse something that you truly are against, and something happens, and people can become critical of you. So I don't think you don't have to endorse every company that comes at you. Now, some people, you see this with, some players with Live Golf. Like, there's a ton of money available for those that are willing, but there are people that are saying, nah, I don't want to be thought of or represented in that manner. So, and that's hundreds of millions of dollars. So if we're talking about even less money, depending on where you are, I think it does matter. You don't have to necessarily do every endorsement that comes your way.
Are athletes selective of that, Carey? Like when you initially get to the pros and you got different companies coming to you that'll be like, hey, we've got this, we've got that. Are those athletes initially selective in terms of like, I don't want to jump right in, or do you jump the moment money comes in?
It depends on the person.
Okay, makes sense.
It depends on the number that they're speaking of.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on how you feel about that particular product.
Yeah.
If you feel like it's something that you want to endorse, and some people don't care. Like some people will just endorse every single thing that comes their way and just say, the hell with it, I'm getting paid. It's not my job to be politically correct in some areas, in some regards. But I think the more the more endorsement opportunities that you have, the more selective you become.
Yeah.
Like when you're just starting out and people say, how much you sign? Hey, when do you sign where?
I was going to say, like,
how much?
I'd love to be honest and be like, I'd like to be selective, but the moment they slide the contract, like, cool.
Sure.
What was this? What did I just say? Oh, okay, yeah, we're good.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more from the 816. What is the best advice you have been given for overcoming an obstacle?
Oh, man. I tell this to kids that I coach all the time. There are two ways that it's going to happen. You're either going to get it done or you're not. If you don't try, you never know. Right? If you just say, oh, I'm not going to make it, it's not going to happen, well, then you already failed. Right? You already put yourself in a position to not succeed. You don't know what's going to happen if you actually push forth and go forward and actually go through it. And there's learning experiences in every part of that. So if I'm going through something and it's an obstacle in front of me, you can either go around it, go through it, or turn around and go home. And so for me, I've never been a turn my back and run away from an obstacle or a challenge. And I don't think that's, and it's not just sports, it's life. Right? In life, you face obstacles. You're going to face things. You're dealing with children that are probably learning to be potty trained. And at some point, it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah,
and
I turn to go the other way,
You know what? Just figure it out on your own. I'm out of here.
She poops on the carpet. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out of here. What the hell are we doing? So it's an obstacle. You have to, and our kids learn how to go through. They watch us. They watch everything we do, even when we're not. Like my son does stuff. I'm like, why are you doing it? And I'm like, oh, I do that. That sucks. God, don't do that. And he's like, you do it? I'm like, don't say that.
Oh, yeah, we have that one all the time.
So anytime you're facing an obstacle, you got to finish it. You got to go through it and because you never know how it's going to turn out if you finish it and you succeed, but you do know how it's going to turn out if you turn around and walk away.
I like that one. This isn't like an athlete thing, but just in terms of radio, which works in everyday life, the biggest thing for me was don't take it personal. And I didn't know what that meant until like you get into this business, because everybody has an opinion on what you do, how you do it, what you say, what you do. And I originally took it all personal. You'd take it home with you, you'd think about it, you'd stew on it for 24 hours, and then you'd come in the next day and it would just ruin your performance. And now it's like you can't take it personal. There are so few and far between people who are willing to give you constructive criticism in today's world that like I accept it because it's the only way you get better. You let people tell you what you're doing poorly so that you can try and fix it, move forward. But it is not an easy thing to not take personal.
It is. I agree. Like even with the text line, you'll get.
Oh God,
But the funny part for me is, you'll get a message, Carey, you're terrible. You're the worst person to ever be on the radio. And then the next message, Carey, you're awesome. You're the best. You're a great fit for the show. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's typically when I close out. I'm like, that's enough for today?
Cool.
Good enough.
I know I said one more. I love this one, though. This is a great question from the 636. Hey, fellas. I got an alumni hockey game this week, and I've put on a bit of a barrel since the last time I laced them up. Too late to get in shape? How should I go about this?
When is it?
This week.
Oh. How long has it been since you laced them up?
Well, and it's Christmas this week. Like, you think you're just going to have, like, celery sticks and carrots the rest of this week?
You got to go out there and play.
Yeah, just go sweat it out on the ice.
All right.
You got good hands. Let the hands do the work.
Yeah. But the legs got to do the moving, too.
Short shifts, baby.
Yeah, short shifts. 30 seconds or
change.
less. Also, I hope you're a stay-at-home defenseman. Just don't move.
Oh, man.
Stand in front of the goalie like Shaq in the paint. Come near me.
So I did some years back. I hadn't been active at all, and one of my former college teammates, Neil Rackers, played for the Arizona Cardinals kicker. He's like, man, come out and do this indoor soccer league. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, man, we have great fun. It's gonna be awesome. I'm like, yeah, Neil, I haven't run in like 2 years, brother. I've just been chilling. Man, you'll be fine. I get out. I thought I was going to die. My heart, my legs, my groin, my calves. I'm like, dude,
Look at Neil. Damn you, Neil.
So if you haven't been active,
it's just warm-ups.
When's the game start?
Carey, we're just warming up the muscles.
Oh, no. This is terrible. So good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, start stretching now. Like even if you're not in good shape, start stretching now, because you do not want to pull something because you have not been active.
Yep.
Get you some stretching in, some heat, if you can, a massage. Just get those muscles warmed up, because you're going to be using them. Don't worry about being out of shape. Don't worry about being gassed. You better worry about pulling a hamstring off the bone. If you ain't never seen that, a groin off the.
Oh, God.
Way that thing roll up and roll down.
I would just recommend you just keep eating Christmas break and say I'm unavailable for the alumni game.
Best of luck to you.
Yes,
Please text in and let us know how it went. That's Alex Ferrario, Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis. We had the college football playoffs take place this weekend. We had some blowouts. Some teams didn't really show up. Will we look and see how the committee rethinks this whole process going into next season? We'll talk about that next on the Fast Lane. Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Alex Ferrario and Andrew Marsh, and we have the Gauntlet coming up in 8 minutes. If you want to be on the Gauntlet, text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Text in the word Gauntlet, and maybe Marshy will pick you to face off against one of us. So before we went to break, we talked about the college football playoff bracket and really some underwhelming performances by some teams over the weekend. And so I guess my question, and Marshy posed this to the group, do you think the College Football Committee will rethink the evaluation process for next season in terms of who gets in and who does not? Because the teams like SMU, Clemson, I didn't have a real problem with it. People have an issue with Indiana. No one really concerned themselves. Tennessee beat the worst, in my opinion, but nobody brings them up.
It's funny how nobody talks about that team.
We'll just pretend like that didn't happen. Just erase it.
They were SEC, though.
There you go.
It doesn't matter, Carey. You get your butt whooped in the SEC, but elsewhere.
Everybody else, you stink and you don't belong. But Tennessee actually got beat the worst. But we're going to pretend like that didn't happen. So do you think that the College Football Playoff Committee will look into how they evaluate teams and which teams actually belong in the college football playoff going into 2025?
Man, I don't know how you feel, Carey, but man, I freaking hope they don't. I mean, we've all seen the video of Kirk Herbstreit that's been floating around of like, oh, they need to not worry about wins so much as worry about the other. I thought they got this right. Like, I know people are upset that they wanted Alabama in over SMU or over Indiana, but you said it perfectly, Carey. Nobody's saying, like, Alabama over Tennessee. You know why? Because Tennessee was an SEC team, and they won 10 games.
Exactly.
And for the people that would be like, Alabama should have been over SMU, then win one of those final games.
Correct.
Don't lose to Vanderbilt. Don't lose to Kentucky. Yeah. Like, get into the football playoffs by winning 10 games. Yeah. So I really hope they don't change any of this. Would I like to see them re-rank when they get in and not have those conference winners as the buys? Maybe, but you know what would suck, Carey? This coming round, we watched the butt whooping that just took place this last round when you're 2 rounds away from the college football championship. So I thought Indiana was worthy. I thought SMU was worthy. And frankly, depending on what happens to Arizona State, I thought they were worthy because they won 10 or 11 football games.
Yeah, for me, I think you hit the nail on the head. People were quoting what Kirk Herbstreit said, but that was before, if I'm not mistaken, if you look at the tweet, I'm pretty sure it was before Tennessee got beat up in the way that they did. And nobody says anything about Tennessee. We'll talk about, SMU was overmatched. They didn't deserve to be there. Oh, Clemson, how did they, whatever. And Indiana stinks. But nobody wants to talk about a Tennessee team that lost. Again, that's the worst loss of the weekend, in my opinion. Tennessee scored late in that game. They scored as they got a turnover as Ohio State was going into the end zone, and a tip pass to Jeremiah Smith. He was unable to bring it in with one hand. The safety made a hell of a play. They called it an interception, and that stopped the drive. That stalled the drive. That makes it 28-0 or 24-0 at worst if Ohio State scores on that drive. Tennessee had no, in my opinion, if you're saying that SMU had no business, if you're saying that Indiana had no business, Tennessee had no business playing in that game, which it makes it an invalid point. Yeah. Right? All 3 of those teams deserve to be where they are. It's tough to play on the road. It's tough to be a lower seed going into a home team's environment, and those teams are better than you. SMU was not going to beat Penn State. They might not beat them on the neutral field. They might not beat them at SMU. Yeah. Indiana might have a better chance if they're playing at Indiana than Notre Dame. And Tennessee probably has a better chance if they're playing in Knoxville than in Columbus. But you're on the road, and that's the point of it. You weren't the better team. You weren't seeded as high, so you didn't get the home game. And Ohio State took care of their business. Penn State took care of their business. Notre Dame took care of their business against Indiana. So I don't have an issue with it. But if you're going to say it, if you're going to just point out SMU and Indiana, and, they didn't deserve it, neither did Tennessee. Yep. The only game that I could say this team deserved to be in that game, it would be Clemson. Yeah. And Clemson won they won their conference. Yeah. And they still were lower seeded than SMU. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with how it was set up. I love that the home teams, I love that they have home games for that first round because you get to see a matchup of an SEC team going into Ohio State where it's cold. You get to see a team from Dallas go to Penn State where it's cold. Like, you get to see those matchups. So for me, I didn't have an issue with it. I hope nothing changes.
I do too.
I hope they keep it the same. And eventually you'll have the excitement of a 12 seed beating a 5 seed and making it to the next round.
Yeah, because
just not this year.
It gets more teams involved in the recruiting process, the transfer portal, because there's more opportunity to be a college football team. Here's my only thing about it. So Clemson gets in because they get up that conference championship, and I think at the time a lot of people, Carey, were upset that SMU was going to be in.
Right.
Because they lost, they should be out. Wasn't that where Lane Kiffin was on his angry keyboard? Yeah. If you would have put Alabama or Ole Miss in that game against Penn State, I think the exact same outcome would have taken place.
I agree.
Because Penn State was a better team.
They were.
So, what are we worried about with 10 or 11? Like Miami, the University of Miami gets it. They would have gotten their butts whooped. So, this is just it's very obvious that you've got Oregon, Ohio State, and then I'd put Penn State in there for how freaking good they look, and depending on what happens with Texas. You had 4 teams that were in a tier of their own, and then you had everyone else.
Correct. And I agree. If Miami goes to Penn State, you probably had the same outcome.
Totally.
You're going to see the same outcome from those teams. I didn't have an issue with any of it. And we got a text here. Did any of us expect IU or SMU to win? No, but they deserve to be in and have a chance. And I agree with that. Yep. Right? You did. Maybe you didn't expect them to win, but if they were able to win, it kind of validates them being in that role. People did expect Tennessee to win. They expected them to show up.
Yep.
They didn't have a chance.
Nope.
From start to finish. So, again, I hope it all goes that way. And if Ole Miss has a problem with not being in the college football playoff, I don't know, maybe beat Kentucky at home. Yeah, maybe start there.
I loved Dennis Dodd's. Dennis Dodd's first line in his article on CBS Sports Saturday night was at about 7 p.m. Eastern, Lane Kiffin swallowed his keyboard.
Yeah.
You just watch these teams. You watch Tennessee get their butt whooped, and it's like, man, you couldn't beat Kentucky.
There you go. Deal with it.
We're good now. We're good, guys. Let's just walk away and say we had fun.
That's Alex Ferrario, Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis. Coming up next, we got the Gauntlet, and we will have a great time. That's next on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I am Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Alex Ferrario from the VCAM Ferrario, joining us. Stayed a little bit later to have a good time with us. And it is time for the Gauntlet, and our contestant today is Mike. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great. Are you ready to challenge one of us in the Gauntlet?
Big Mike.
All right, so
yes, sir, I'm ready.
You're ready. So, Marshy, we're out of the championship round, so it goes back to the normal way, correct?
That is right.
All right, so who would you like to take on today?
Let's go with Marshy.
You want to take on Marshy? Yes.
All right.
Marshy's been getting a lot of play here lately, so you know how this goes. Tell Marshy to spin that wheel. He'll spin the wheel, then he'll get the heck up out of here.
All right, spin that wheel, Marshy.
All right, good luck, Mike.
All right, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
What category are you hoping for today, Mike?
I'm good with anything. Whatever the wheel gives me.
All right.
This is like Price is Right. Oh, there we go.
It did. It almost.
That was Price is Right style.
It was. All right. So, you said any category, and you indeed have football.
All right, I can live with that.
All right,
Football.
Marshy,
Mike, is that your area of expertise?
No, not really. Personally, I was hoping for either hockey or random.
Okay. Well, you picked Marshy because it's an easy beat, I would assume, right?
I doubt that.
Mike, I don't like these pleasantries you're pulling. I need some grit towards Marshy here.
Here's the thing that you don't know. If Mike is a good guy, then he has no chance. So
Exactly.
Marshy only beats good guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has a thing. If you're a bad person, he just he loses.
Really?
If you're a good
Intimidation?
guy, I don't know. But if you're a good guy, Marsh tends to take care of business.
So we're going to
Mike,
find out.
Yeah, he's trying to play. He don't want to tell you if he's good or
That's
not.
smart.
Yeah,
That's smart. Big poker player Mike is.
All right, Mike, you know how it goes. If you answer it correctly without the options, you get 2 points. You answer it correctly with the option, you get 1. And if it's incorrect, you get 0 points. You ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll.
All right, Dak Prescott played his college ball at which university?
Well, I'll need the options.
Is it Mississippi State, Ole Miss, or Texas A&M?
What was the first one again, please?
Mississippi State, Ole Miss, or Texas A&M?
Mississippi State. Final answer.
All right, Mike, number 2. In what city was the first Super Bowl played in?
I'm going to take a shot. Say New Orleans. Final answer.
All right, question number 3. Jerome Bettis played for how many teams in his NFL career?
Either 2 or 3, I believe. Go 2. Final answer.
All right. 4th question, Mike. The first touchdown scored in the 1999 Rams Super Bowl victory, that is St. Louis Rams Super Bowl victory, was caught by which player?
Let's go Isaac Bruce. Final answer.
All right.
I mean, he just shot in the dark. I like this one by Mike.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Mike? You can get Marshy to get back in here.
A little nervous. A little nervous.
All right. Well, we'll see how Marshy goes. How Marshy does. He's walking back in from the cone of silence. Well,
he was hiding in the corner. I didn't see him over there. He was hiding. He's afraid of you, Mike.
Ooh. All right, Marshy. How you feel? You in the cone of silence? Were you by yourself? Did you have some company?
I was with Mike Ryder. We were listening to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by DMX.
Oh,
yes.
Dancer and Prancer and Donner. Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
God, what a great Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer version.
I'm a fan of X, definitely.
It goes Burl Ives and then DMX.
Oh, okay. Marshy.
Yes.
Your category today is football.
Okay.
Do you know? You want to tell him? Pack a lunch.
Yeah, I don't know if Alex knows.
Oh. No, I knew. I was going to build the anticipation. You beat me to it. It's right there.
You tell him now.
You know what? Okay, hold on. Pack a lunch,
There
Marshy.
you go. All right, okay. Marshy. Dak Prescott played his college ball at which university?
Mississippi State. Final answer.
All right, Marshy. In what city was the first Super Bowl played?
I believe it was played at the LA Coliseum, so Los Angeles. Final answer.
All right, question number 3. Jerome Bettis played for how many teams in his NFL career?
He played for the Rams. He played for the Steelers. So I know definitely 2. But did he play for more? And I know that you're going to give me 2, 3, 4. Those will be the options. So, he didn't play for Detroit. I know he's from Detroit, but I don't know if he played for the Lions. But he did win that Super Bowl in Detroit. I'm going to go with 2 just because that's the only 2 teams that I can recall. So 2, final answer.
All right, Marshy. Number 4. The first touchdown scored in the 1999 St. Louis Rams Super Bowl victory was caught by which player?
Who was it? I would have been 3 years old at that time.
So you should remember this fondly.
That should be your first memory.
Yeah, come on, man.
What are you doing?
So it was a low-scoring game. Was it? Who was it?
Good thing there are no shot clock violations here.
Well, yeah, that is a good thing because the Gauntlet lasted like 30 minutes last week.
I think I remember that. I went grocery shopping and got back in the car, and you guys are still going.
Here.
I'm going to go with Torrey Holt. Final answer.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Let's just go down the line. Dak Prescott played his college ball at which university? Mike, you said Mississippi State. Marsh, you said Mississippi State. The correct answer is?
It's Mississippi State.
But Marshy did not need the options. He's got a 2-1 lead versus you, Mike. In what city was the first Super Bowl played in? Mike, you said New Orleans without the options. Marsh, you said L.A. without the options. The correct answer is?
Los Angeles.
Marshy is up 4-1. Jerome Bettis played for how many teams in his NFL career? Without the options, Mike, you said 2. Without the options, Marshy, you also said 2. Correct answer is?
It's the big old number 2.
It is number 2.
Nice.
Marshy has a 6-3 lead. Final question. The first touchdown scored in the 1999 St. Louis Rams Super Bowl victory was caught by which player without the options? Mike, you said Isaac Bruce. Marshy, you said Torrey Holt. Correct answer is?
It's the big Torrey Holt.
It is Torrey Holt. Mike.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
Yeah, Mike, it's tough when he doesn't take any options and hits every single one of them. You played great, but Marshy came to play.
Marshy woke up and chose violence.
Yeah, he did. You must be a really good guy, Mike.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Marshy.
Thanks, Mike. Mike is going to get a lot of gifts in the stocking and no coal.
Yeah, Marshy.
Yeah,
What
great.
you
Jeez,
doing?
Marshy.
I'm sorry,
Mike
Mike.
probably has a family.
It was the DMX. It really got me
It
going.
might have been X. Give it there. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yikes, Marshy. He did the second one with a shot in the dark, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's over.
Damn, Marshy.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Marshy.
Mike.
Good job, Mike.
All right, thank you, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Coming up next, we have our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. He's going to tell us what the Blues need to do to get a W tonight. Feels like it's been a while. It's been a while since I saw you.
Great deep cut, too.
Yeah. We'll talk to JR
Not DMX.
next on the Fast Lane.
time for the Rutherford Report on 101 ESPN.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey? Here we go.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I am Carey Davis, joined by Alex Ferrario and Andrew Marsh, and we go to the Collier and Thompson phone line to talk to the Blues insider and writer for The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford. JR, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, Carey. I guess no Riv today. He's got a hockey game, and Anthony's probably bashing his head on a concrete pool somewhere.
Well, no, he's actually here. He didn't go out of town, so he I think all pool walls are safe. It's a little cold outside, unless he finds an indoor pool somewhere. But I think he's okay. I think he's fine.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
So,
how you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Christmas is in a couple of days. We got some time. Yeah. You done your shopping?
Oh, yeah. I think, well, when I say I have, my wife has done shopping.
That was the next question. When I say you, I meant your wife. I know. Is the shopping done is what I should have asked.
I think so. I think we're all wrapped up, and Santa will be delivering these gifts, and I'll be sitting in front of the fire with a brewski in a couple nights ready to watch the kids smile.
Let's be honest, JR. Your contribution to all of this, once the gifts are wrapped, put out there, is to take a bite out of the Christmas cookies that Santa's supposed that he eats.
What do you mean? Santa comes? Like, we got some kids.
No, Santa comes.
He just finishes
what I'm
the rest
saying
of the
is
cookie.
JR finishes off the cookie. Santa takes one or two bites, and then the rest are gone.
Well, let's just put it this way. When I told my kids a year or two ago that I do partake in the cookies late at night, my son was not shocked.
Yeah, not shocked at all. And then for some reason, though, the reindeer food, those carrot sticks, are just still sitting there.
That's unfortunate.
They're all there the next morning.
So, JR, you're talking about Santa bringing gifts. Will Santa visit the Blues tonight and bring them a gift of a win in Detroit? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they have asked Santa for 2 goals, and they're hoping that he brings 2 goals tonight against the
just
Detroit
2?
Red Wings.
Can we get 3? Maybe 4.
Hey, listen,
an empty netter.
2 would be a present. 2 would be a present. And listen, I don't want to be one of those guys that gives them the gears. If you see me at the parent-kid game, I can't even get up on skates here. But, it's been tough sledding. Hey, how about that? Tough sledding.
God bless you, JR.
Tough sledding, trying to score some goals for the St. Louis Blues. No need to go over the numbers. 4 out of the last 5 games, just 1 goal. But it's cyclical. Guys, we know that throughout the course of an 82-game schedule, you're going to see times, stretches where you put 4 or 5 in a game, and then that's going to be situations like this. But, we also know that this team doesn't have a ton of goal scorers. And so, we had a stretch there of, 4 games where it was Buchnevich, Carey, Thomas. You're going to need more from other people. And so, I think they've had so much traveling, so much, of a grind the past couple of weeks that they're probably all looking forward to this 3-day Christmas break. But you got to get through one more game tonight. And if they could pot a couple against this Red Wings team that struggled. You look at the goals for, Blues 87, Red Wings 88. So they're right there in that general vicinity in terms of with the Red Wings. And the Red Wings not playing well here of late, lost 7 of their last 10. So situation where a win is possible tonight, and it sure would be a good feeling for this Blues team.
JR, when I saw the line combinations for this one, it doesn't surprise me because of what you said with the lack of scoring. But what was your reaction when you saw Texier skating with Thomas and Buch on the top line?
Yeah, I think, you get asked that question on the social media too, and I responded to one person just saying, hey, look, it's different circumstances, I think, when you see lines changed up. It could be trying to give some guy some confidence. In this case, Texier has been playing a little bit better lately. You could be rewarding a guy, but most of the time, Alex, as we all know, it's looking for some balance, looking for some chemistry. You don't want to put a line out there of 3 guys who you don't think could get the job done, so you might bump a guy down. I like what Jim Montgomery said today. I believe he said that Neighbors is a guy who can get anybody going. There are a lot of players over the years like that who you put them on a line and he can kind of jumpstart guys. So we'll see what Neighbors can do with the guys on the third line there. And hey, listen, I'm not a fan of Texier being on a top line or even a second line for weeks and weeks, but I think the occasional bump up to the top line like you might see tonight or you will see tonight. It isn't the end-all, be-all. He might go out and produce, and then all of a sudden a week later he's saying Texas on that top line jump-started the offense. So I don't think it's anything that's going to stick, though.
JR, you talked about Carey, Thomas, and Booch being the ones that have been scoring the goals as of late. You recently wrote an article on Robert Thomas. You can check it out on The Athletic. Robert Thomas's rise, a Swedish stick, a frozen passes, and becoming the face of the Blues franchise. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Carey, so much fun. The Blues played in Toronto last year, and I went up and worked it out to meet with Robert Thomas's mom and dad, Scott and Deb, who were just absolutely tremendous, salt of the earth. And it was kind of cool. They said, okay, you're going to get on a train in downtown Toronto. You're going to take it 45 minutes, get off at this station, and I'm going to be in a silver 150 Ford truck to pick you up. And there he was, Mr. Thomas, waving his hand. And so I jumped in his truck, and he said, here's your 3 options for dinner. He said this a couple days in advance, and, we went with the chicken. So he's right there at the stove making the chicken all night long. And I just sat with his parents for 3 hours, and I said, tell me about Robert Thomas. And I love writing these stories where you're able to deliver to Blues fan what makes a player tick. How did he get to St. Louis? How did he get to the NHL? And, Carey, you know this as well as anybody. These guys don't grow up thinking I'm definitely going to be in the NHL all the time. And, Robert's dad said 5-6 years before the Blues win the Stanley Cup, there's no guarantee he's going to even be in the NHL. So it's kind of cool to hear all the details that go into it, the decisions that are made, the extra practice time, the going to junior hockey, just all the things that Robert did to add up to an NHL career. And so hopefully Blues fans will check that out at The Athletic.
JR, were you able to learn about kind of the sacrifices of parents? We often talk about the athlete, but we kind of leave out the parents and the family and how much sacrifice, how much time, how much money, how much effort it takes to eventually get a child to be in that position. Did you get a grasp of how much sacrifice his parents put in?
Yeah, and you listen to all professional athletes, and they'll tell you all about the sacrifice that their parents put in. Siblings too. The extra money that goes to the kid, playing the heavy sports. But let me give you this quick anecdote from the story, guys. There was a situation. He was going to St. Andrew's school right there in Aurora, Ontario, and he wanted to go play junior hockey for the London Knights. And his mom and dad were dead set on him staying in school. He was dead set on going to junior hockey, right? And his mom and dad said, go upstairs and write a pro and con list of why we should let you go to junior hockey 2.5 hours away and not go to school. And so Robert, he said, I went up there and I made this pro and con list, and I kind of put a few extra cons on there, and a few extra pros on there and take a few cons off. He goes, I went downstairs with my lopsided list and said, here's why I should be able to go to junior hockey. So, if he doesn't do that, guys, we don't know number 18, Robert Thomas, here in St. Louis. So I think he was kind of taking the bull by the horns there, even at the age of 14, 15 years old, freshman, sophomore in school, knowing what he wanted to do and what it would take to accomplish it. So, again, I can't stress enough. I talk to my little 11-year-old all the time, and not saying he's going to be in the NHL, but hey, look, you can start to create something for yourself, whether it's in business or sports or whatever you're going to be down the road. You can push and have that drive and show what it takes at a young age and see if you like it and see if you're good at it, and then everything will unfold the way it should.
I got to be honest. My dad would have said, go up, make a pros and cons. I'm like, you know what, Dad? It's too much work. I appreciate it. I'll just stick with where I'm at. Hey, JR, I came off of that last game against the Florida Panthers thinking, you know what, it might make sense to let Binnington sit for a couple of games. I know he's struggling. I personally don't think it's all been on him, but Joel Hofer's got the hot stick these days, so put him in between the pipes and see what happens with it. They're going back to Binnington tonight. Does that tell you more about the plan that Jim Montgomery has in place, or tell you more about the confidence that they have in Binnington despite his odd numbers?
Yeah, I'm a guy that always thinks that it's a combination of things, so I never think it's definitely this, and this is why the Blues make this decision. I think it's a combination of, he's your guy. You want him to go into the break feeling pretty good of yourself. There's another variable right there. There's a break. If they had a game in a day or 2 days, maybe they think differently. Who knows? But, I think that what Jordan Binnington has shown you over the course of his career, including this year, he's been really, really good. You can have a hiccup here or there and still be a great goaltender. And I think they want to, show him, hey, this is a win that we need. Go out and get it for us. And, at the end of the night, we might be talking post-game, Alex, about, Jordan Binnington stole the show. That's just what good goaltenders do, and he's been able to do. So I totally understand the talk about Joel Hofer every time that Jordan has a hiccup. Joel Hofer's a great goaltender. I think he's going to be the number one goaltender for the St. Louis Blues one day. But right now, Jordan Binnington's this team's goaltender, and I think he deserves every right to get in the net when they think that he's healthy and ready to go.
All right, JR, last question for me. What's on your Christmas wish list? What are you hoping for this Christmas?
Other than Santa's cookies.
Well, yeah, that's a given. That's a given.
Other than those cookies, hey, I'm going to get too sappy on you guys. I don't have a quick-witted answer to tell you, hey, I'm looking for an elliptical or something like that. I just want to, people out there listening, they know the feeling. Like, I'm 49 years old. It's just such a great time to see the smile on everybody else's face. And so, I feel like my wife and I get some nice gifts picked out for not only the kids, but for some other people. And I just can't wait for, the paper to be unwrapped and for these people to show that smile. That's what it's all about. And, I can't wait for the next couple of days to see that. And I also can't wait for the bourbon to be poured into the glass.
There you go. I think the older we get, the more we get excited about our kids opening up gifts, and it kind of gives you the reminder or the memories of when you were a child and able to do that on Christmas Day, waking you up at 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. ready to get after it. It's a bit much, but we do a lot.
7:45 a.m.
For sure. But all that said, I hope I get some cool stuff.
There you go.
And you don't have to wait till Christmas to get that bourbon poured in the glass.
That's true, JR.
You can do that tonight.
You can listen to Alex on pregame.
I already got the ice in the glass. Wait till I get done with this interview.
There you go. The Blues take on the Red Wings tonight at 6 p.m. Pregame starts at 5 p.m. You can check them out. JR, thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you next week. Merry Christmas, and have a great time.
Merry Christmas. Let's go Steelers.
Yes, sir.
See, that's the way to go into the holiday break, JR. You like that one.
Indeed. That's Jeremy Rutherford, Blues insider and writer for The Athletic that just joined us. And coming up next, we have our Sports Six-Pack, so get your questions in. Anything you would like us to know, hey, ask. That's next on The Fast Lane on 101.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. We have Blues pregame for you starting at 5 o'clock with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop will be at 6 as the Blues take on the Detroit Red Wings. We talked with JR, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic. If you just missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Schaefer Door Company 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Carey's Illini defeated BK's Mizzou Tigers 80-77 over the weekend. Carey's fired up about that. We also talked about that in What's Trending. So if you did miss that, make sure you go check it out on the podcast. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next. So get your questions into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We'll do our Sports Six-Pack next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Suffering from ED or PE? Your first treatment is free at ParamountMen'sMedical.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Alex Ferrario and Andrew Marsh, and it's time for the Sports Six-Pack. Marshy, go.
Question number 1.
All right, we were just talking about gifts with Jeremy Rutherford. We got a question from the 217. When you get a bad gift, how do you react? Years ago, I was given Rams gear right before we basically knew the team was moving the next month. Jeez. That was some difficult acting.
Ooh. I don't even know if I need to act on that one. I'd let the person know this is a bad gift.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think gift giving is a skill set. Like, some people are better at it than others. Yeah. Like, some people understand how to go through the mechanics and all of that. You know, some people are just like, here, you said you need this, right? There you go. Huh?
You told me you needed this.
This is not what you wanted? No? Well, then you should have been more specific. I don't know what to tell you. I think when you get a bad gift, you're thankful, you're appreciative, and you just re-gift it for someone else if you need to.
Or you put it in a junk closet at your house that you never look at.
Yeah.
You're like, where this goes. I have we were talking about this last week because T-Bone had this issue to where somebody gave him a gift and he's like, do you have to open it in front of the person? And I said, I refuse to open gifts in front of people unless it's family members because they stare at you. You're like, people can read my eyes too. Like I'm Italian, so the facial features can tell you everything. So I'm like, why would I offend somebody? Give me the gift. I'll take it home and I'll send you a text of how much I appreciate this
even
one.
If you don't.
Even if I don't.
There you go.
You can't read my eyes through text.
I would assume like a bad gift would come from someone that isn't a part of your family because
a friend or something.
Right. Because I would assume you're giving your family like a list of things that you would like. And then hopefully they end up getting those things.
Don't go off the radar and just decide to do whatever they want.
But here's the thing, like at the end of the day, even if you don't like the gift, you should know that they got you that gift with the intention of you maybe needing it or what they thought you would like. So, like, it's the intent behind the gift giving. And at the end of the day, like, you don't have to get a gift. So just be happy with it.
And nothing.
It could have gotten nothing, right?
You guys are a lot nicer than I am.
Yeah. Well, you could have gotten nothing.
What would be a bad gift in your opinion?
That's the thing. It's rare to get. Like, if somebody gave me Rams gear when the team was leaving, that's a bad gift.
So I used to think, like when I was a kid, me and my cousin were texting about this the other day. I used to hate, and I mean loathe, getting socks and underwear and T-shirts for Christmas. You know how thrilled I would.
Your mind.
Oh,
dude,
you give me
dude, I told
socks.
my wife to get me socks and underwear for Christmas.
I had socks on my list too.
Please, give me socks.
I'm not even in my 30s yet, and I'm asking for socks now. Like they're like the what's the brand called? I'm wearing them right now. They're the socks.
I thought you were going to check your underwear. I'm like, what?
No. It's called Stance. That's the sock brand.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also, I believe, the brand that Major League Baseball players wear for like their socks. It's got the little X, I think. So they're really comfy socks. So they're not like, not good socks.
Right. Yeah.
So I was excited about that because they're cool socks, and I got them in different colors and stuff. So yeah.
Throughout high school and college, I would just carry a debit card and my license.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing else I needed. I asked for a wallet this year for the first time, and I can't tell you how excited I am for somebody to buy me a wallet.
There you go.
That's life.
Yeah. You get older, you start appreciating the little things.
Amen to that.
I'm also like at that point where, and JR said it, you're excited to watch other people open their gifts. So I had a family Christmas this weekend, and I was like, hey, when are we opening gifts? Not because I want to open my gifts, but I'm like, I want to give you your gift. I've been waiting like all this time. Like I wanted to give it to you like weeks ago.
I can't tell you how excited I am to watch our girls open up gifts now, because my oldest like understands it a little. Last year was just like, what is this? Give me the next one. Now she gets it. So I'm ecstatic about that.
Well, I'm excited because my kids are past the stage where they need toys that they don't play with.
Oh, God.
Because that, to me, you want to talk about running my head into, I want this toy. And then that toy sits there in a spot for months and never played with. And then you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to give it to Goodwill. I was playing with that. You ain't touched this damn toy in 3 months, man.
On it. It's cobwebs on it. Yep, that's Facebook Marketplace is a wild place because you buy a gift from it, and then about 6 months later, you'll sell that same gift on Marketplace.
Well, I'm the same way with clothes. Like I keep clothes that I absolutely don't need.
Oh yeah.
But that one time that I need that certain article of clothing, I'm not going to have it. I'm like, oh man, like I wish I didn't get rid of this.
Yeah.
But I only would wear it maybe once a year or every 2 years, but I have to keep it though.
I think I've got a black Hooters shirt in the back of my closet that I've had since I was 16, and I still won't get rid of it because you just never know. Never know.
Yeah. Question number 2.
All right, this one comes from Thanks Dad. Sports six-pack. Air some grievances, fellas.
Oh, grievances. You know what? It's the holiday. You know what Festivus? I do have? Nah, I do. I have an issue with traffic.
Oh,
I have
speaking my love language.
Road rage ish. Like I kind of like. Why are you, ma'am, sir? Why are you slamming on your brakes? What in front of you is causing you to panic in a way that you slam on your brakes while we're going 60, 70 miles an hour on the highway? What would cause that? Sheer panic? Just a lack of understanding of the rules of the road? Do you not know that when you're in the fast lane, you should get over, not this fast lane, but the fast lane on the highway? Get the hell out of get the fast lane out of the way so people can drive by? Or are you too busy just driving your 55 and go around? That ain't the rules of the road, man. If you're going to go 55, there's a right lane you can be in and drive as slow as you like. But when you're here, scoot over. It's the right thing to do. That's my grievance. It's Christmas time. Everybody drive safe. Wear your seatbelts. Don't drink and drive. Don't have too much eggnog. But get the hell out the way. Please, and thank you.
I'm into that one. I can take the driving and just put it into grocery store because I have a problem with people at the grocery store, which shouldn't surprise anybody that listens to BK and Ferrario. But much like Carey was talking about, that you're in the fast lane, and if you're not going to walk fast enough, get the hell out of the way.
Please.
Do the same thing at the grocery store. The amount of people, Carey, I went a couple of days ago because we just needed a couple of things, and a couple of things turns into dropping $200 and you're there forever.
Yeah.
The amount of people that just in a grocery store will just stand in the middle of the walkway like this. They just stop with their cart, just looking around, like pull the cart over like you would do with the flat tire. You pull off to the side of the road and you look for what you're looking for, and then once you merge back into traffic with your grocery cart, you keep walking fast.
Yeah. It does drive me. That does drive me crazy. Like people that are oblivious to other people in the world. Like you're not here by yourself. You should. There are other people around. You know, be courteous. Be respectful.
What you do is just step to the side.
Hey, get the hell out the way. Yeah. You know.
Amen to that.
Hey, you know.
Mine is definitely with traffic, a little bit different than yours, and I agree with what you're saying, Carey. My grievance is when people are at a stoplight. And not so much the normal, like, we're going straight, but when we're turning left, when we have an arrow, a green arrow, and we know that arrow does not last that long. And you're sitting there on your phone and not going when the line is like 10 cars deep. And then I am the guy
that misses it.
What's the grace period before you honk your horn at that person? How long?
2 seconds for me. I give you. I won't honk it right when the light turns green but if we sit there for about a second and a half, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And
what people don't understand, Carey, is I could see you in your car looking at your phone.
This is true. But I can't because sometimes I've been that guy. Sorry, my bad. I apologize.
But even so, does your peripheral vision not work? Like I can easily, if my head was down, I could easily see the green flash. I don't like this peripherals.
I think some people are so locked in.
Or that's another good one.
Some
the
people
car
are
in front
so
of you is
locked in.
gone.
But what if they're the first car? So they don't, they're not seeing anything.
Worse.
Nothing pisses you off more, though, than when you miss that light.
Oh,
when you get to be the next car and you're like, you son of a...
It is infuriating. Why didn't... You know what, sir, ma'am?
Did that happen to me coming into work today?
I was going to say,
absolutely.
We all must have had issues recently with what we're hearing these grievances about. Mine was Saturday at the grocery store.
Indeed.
Question number 3.
All right, so we brought up the Rams because of the Rams leaving, and one of our listeners ended up getting Rams gear for Christmas. Didn't love it, understandably so. From the 270, in your guys' mind, if the Rams win the NFC West, do they have a real chance of a deep run into the playoffs?
Well, that was my team. We talked about it earlier when we did our Week 16 review. They are the team I don't think anybody wants to see because they have championship pedigree. They are a few years removed from winning a championship. Defensively, they have gotten better. They were young. They are a young defense, but they have gotten better throughout the season. And we've seen them be able to score at will if they need to. We saw that against the Bills a couple of weeks ago. The last couple of games haven't been, electric offensively, but they have that potential. When you have the receiving core of Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, and you got Kyron Williams coming out of the backfield, I think you have a lot of offensive power that, depending on who they play and what the matchup is, it could be a tough task for that team, even though they will be the home team.
Yeah, I'm like, if I were to rank teams that I don't know if I would want to play right now in the NFC, I think the Rams might be number 2 and the Eagles would be number 1. And I'm still skeptical of the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts in the concussion protocol, if he's out of that one, Saquon is a beast right now. But if I'm like the Lions and I know defensively I can't get a stop right now, I don't know if I want to get into a shootout with the Rams. And the Rams might not need to do a shootout if their defense keeps playing this way.
And I made a mistake. They are actually winning the division right now. Seattle had been, which would have put them on the road, but they are the leading team in the NFC West. So they would have a home game. And so you got to go into there. Now, the SoFi Stadium is not a daunting place to play in because they don't have a home base fan base like some of the other teams do, like Philadelphia or like a Detroit does. But it's still the comfort of their home and you having to travel and be on the road. So for me, that's a team that, if they get in, they could cause some havoc and be a dangerous team for some people.
Going back to the grievances from the 314 and re-rack your weights at the gym because you're an adult.
Yeah. Be respectful. Again, that goes to just knowing that you are not the only person here on earth.
I feel like there's only a certain brand of people that don't re-rack it.
They're the same people that don't put the cart in the cart. I didn't forget the name of it.
In the golf cart return.
The cart, the shopping cart return.
Yeah. Or not the golf cart, shopping return.
And put the little carts in the little cart part and the big carts in the big cart.
Just be better.
I saw a video on social media of somebody who caught it. I guess it was somebody who was on the phone and didn't return their cart. He took the cart and he put it right behind their car and didn't move it. I loved every second of it.
Good for him. I love it. That's Alex Ferrario, Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis. Coming up next, Bet the Board, 3 stars of the day, criticism and compliments. That's next on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Fast Lane. Andrew Marsh, Alex Ferrario. I'm Carey Davis. And if you missed anything from today's show, you can check it out on the 101 ESPN app via the Schaefer Door Company, or check it out on the podcast courtesy of Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We got 3 stars of the day. Bet the board. Well, bet the board. So what are the standings right now, Marshall? What do we have?
All right, so the only person that hit over the weekend was Anthony, thanks to his Atlanta Falcons. And so we have all been pretty bad lately, but I still am tied with Jamie at 8 points. Anthony's got 7, and Carey of 6.
That's awful. Well, yeah, it's not great. Give me, I guess it's not on me first. Who's up first?
I'll go first. Well, Jamie, he already chose his earlier today. Toronto money line for Jamie. I'm going with Josh Jacobs, 80-plus rushing yards. Sorry, Alex. So,
come on, man. Can't you give me some love here?
The thing, it might not hit.
I've lost 3 in a row, so
okay.
there you go. We're good then. Yeah. Anthony is going with the first scoring play in Monday Night Football to be a Packers touchdown at -110. I have no idea how that's -110. But
Does it need to be a pass or a Jordan Love rush?
Yeah. So, all right, Carey.
Give me Spencer Rattler, 178.5 passing yards. Going the over. And I know.
Hell yeah, Carey.
Yeah. I need a lot of passing yards.
Look, I know you respect running backs because you were one.
Yeah.
I am very hopeful that Josh Jacobs fumbles the ball twice tonight.
No. You don't fumble the ball. Not on the day before Christmas.
Just a couple of brain farts.
Days before Christmas.
A couple of brain farts is all I ask.
All right. Any criticism and compliments today, Marcia?
Let's take a look. I'm sure a lot of people
criticize.
Well, they do a lot, for sure. All right, so this one comes from FedEx Brian. Criticisms and compliments. Gentlemen, have a happy and Merry Christmas. And the rest of everybody in the St. Louis area listening, drive safely, because most of you are driving like buffoons today.
That was a crop sandwich. A little bit of both.
I like
compliment.
that one.
Definitely a criticism. Some people do drive a little crazy. Christmas time, people lose their minds. I don't know. Holidays. Yeah.
But you know what, Carey? He's got some substance behind it because his first name's FedEx Brian.
Well, there you go.
So he's basically telling you what he's seeing right now on the roads.
Definitely.
That's a live look from the Doppler.
Yeah, be safe out there.
This next one comes from Rick K. Boys, just want you all to have a great Christmas, and after tonight, when I win the lottery, I will buy you all cars. Let's go.
Rick, I will be holding you to that, seeing as it is in text.
Yeah.
We can. That's probably legally binding. Yeah, we'll hold on to that.
Thanks again for helping me get through peak time at Amazon. You guys keep me laughing when I feel like going home exhausted. Your jokes, humor, and play fighting really helps. Marsh, keep rooting for my Vikings. Skull.
Is that Skull
Love
Rick?
Minnesota. That is Rick. That is Skull Rick.
Crap. I said I don't like the Vikings, too. Does that mean I don't get a car, Rick?
Good luck. Let's see.
Daddy Padre says that I stink.
Just you?
Just me, yeah. Yeah.
Good for us.
I'll be talking to him later.
Well, somebody told me I sucked. Okay. But then came back and said, no, actually, I love you. Appreciate you. Okay.
There we go.
I'm good. I'm flexible.
All right, let's get to our 3 stars of the day. Our 3rd star of the day goes out to people that pay attention on the road.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah, props to you all.
Definitely you.
You deserve everything you want for Christmas.
2nd star of the day goes to Jamie. Not reading emails. He got an award for it.
I saw that.
Didn't see it.
Yes.
Certificate of Achievement.
Look at this.
From the hubbies.
Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, most likely.
That's a legit piece of paper.
You got to put this in a frame.
You got to frame that.
Yeah, we frame that and put it in the
Put it
office.
up on the walls.
Yeah.
And FedEx Colton is on the same line of thinking as me. 1st star of the day goes to Alex Ferrario for pulling triple duty.
Thank you all.
You got to keep going.
I appreciate that. We're going to keep going.
Appreciate you. We appreciate all of our listeners for tuning in. You will not be able to hear us for the next couple of days. We will be off, but enjoy Christmas. Enjoy time with your families. Be safe. Drive carefully. Enjoy your time. For Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, Alex Ferrario, Anthony Stalter, I'm Carey Davis. Blues pregame starts at 5 p.m. Blues Red Wings at 6. See ya.